The Super Bowl! It's Super Bowl!
Super Bowl! Super Bowl!
Welcome back
Super Bowl!
to the
Wow.
Picks podcast week. Well, I guess this is week 22, but it's the 23rd show. So, what's going on, Kyle?
Yeah.
How are we doing?
We are doing fantastic.
I tell you, I'm like really pumped for today's show. Like, not that I'm not excited for the other shows, but like just today, I don't know why. I was really excited. I'm really looking forward to giving all of you who are listening a really good show. I'm sure Kyle is too. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of news. Obviously,
a lot of news.
We're gonna talk about the game on Sunday. There's only one game left, by the way. It's called the Super Bowl.
One game.
Pretty important game.
The big game, they say.
Pretty important
Super
game.
Owl.
So we're gonna talk about that game. And then we got a Q&A coming up too.
Ooh.
We asked you guys to ask us questions, and you did, and you guys did not disappoint. We got quite a lot of questions stacked up. So we're gonna get around to those towards the end of the show.
Ask questions in the chat.
Yeah, and if there's anybody
anybody
listening live that wants to comment and ask some questions when we get to our Q&A, go ahead, feel free to do so. And then I think we're gonna end with a little bit of final predictions for the game, and then final award predictions. The NFL honors are on this Thursday. Thursday at 9, I want to say. I think it's 9. I wrote it down. I'll see you later. So yeah, let's get into the news. Quite a lot of news.
Into the news.
A lot of news this week.
NBA news.
Well, all right. So those of you who don't know, I'm a self-proclaimed Mavericks fan. Grew up watching Dirk. I know it's weird.
Very weird.
I loved watching Dirk.
Very weird.
Dude,
fan
Dirk was so cool to watch growing up. So like he was awesome. And then literally we lost Dirk, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sad. And then we got Luka, who's literally just as good or if not better than Dirk. And then Mark Cuban, who's like lost his fucking mind in the last 2 years, traded them to some guy or girl that doesn't give a shit about the organizations, and then they went ahead and made the worst trade in the history in the NBA. So any ounce of me caring about the NBA is now gone. Not an NBA fan.
Cuban
not that I
lost
was
money in crypto,
bro. I don't know. We're not here to talk basketball. Basketball stinks. Professional basketball anyway. College is cool.
Yeah, NBA doo-doo.
We got some not so good news to talk about first though. And that is Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 6 Baltimore area massage therapists, according to an investigation led by the Baltimore Banner. Not a good look for Tuck, man.
Not a good look.
And I believe it because we'll get into it in a little bit, but there's a lot of evidence suggesting that whatever he was doing took place. What did he do?
Evidence going back years ago.
Yeah, no, like this is like a multi-year investigation. So according to the investigation, Tucker has been accused of exposing himself to multiple therapists during sessions, taking out his wang and whipping it all over the place. Not good. And then leaving ejaculate on the treatment table during a number of massage sessions. Supposedly, this led to his ban from 2 different spas in Baltimore. The incidents are reported to have occurred between 2012 and 2016, which makes you wonder why it took all the way until January 2025 for this report to come out. I get the whole stigmatism around like the rape allegations and like, women being, it's hard for them to come out. Statute of limitations is a number of things like shame and all that. So I do get it. This is literally like Deshaun Watson part 2 though. This is not good. And this
the AFC North,
dude, I don't know what's going on in that division.
Are the Bengals are the next to get a rapist sexual predator because you got Big Ben.
Yeah, they got
Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And now you got
Tucker. Jesus.
So now who's next? Who's
on
the Bengals?
They didn't have a rapist.
Chase?
They didn't have a rapist, but they had Vontaze Burfict, who was like pretty shitty. So
pretty shitty, but he's not a rapist.
Yeah,
they're
due for a rapist.
They're due for a rapist.
That's crazy, bro. That's a wild statement right there.
Yeah. You've heard it here first. Bengals due for rapists.
Bro, so the reason I believe this, right? So I was doing my research on this. There was a comment on Reddit from almost 2 years ago detailing an accusation from a friend of the commenter saying that the friend was a massage therapist and that the friend said Justin Tucker is no different from Deshaun Watson, and she was like she wouldn't cave into Tucker's requests. He was like telling her to like jerk him off and like finger his asshole and like all this like weird shit like that a normal person wouldn't think to ask during a massage session. And like the company like basically told her to leave. Like the massage studio told her like to go, like just to go with it because like it brings them money and like the clientele and like all the clout and shit like that they get from like the NFL, like the big names coming there. And like that's how they can make a good living. So like this story is like, dude, I believe it. Like there's a lot of layers. And like we saw a couple, there's a Facebook post too, like same shit
An onion.
going on.
There's a tweet from 2021.
Yeah, there was like shit
banned from like
on
all
Twitter.
the massage therapists in Baltimore. It's nuts.
Yeah, and then so that was Thursday, and then Saturday there were 3 more allegations that emerged against Tucker from like 3 different massage therapists. So like in all, as of Saturday, it's 9 total therapists from 5 high-end spa and wellness centers in Baltimore. So yeah, bro, he fucking did it. Like that's crazy. Like dude was literally loved by not only like Baltimore, but like everybody in the NFL thought he was a great guy. Had a shitty year kicking the ball this year, and like completely like fell out of favor. They were like, all right, whatever, go out in the grass, go out in the field and graze, like you're done. Now you're really done.
Yeah.
Like
Dunzo.
yeah, like it's crazy, dude. Sad. Very, very sad. So want to get the bad news out first. Justin Tucker, not a good guy. We don't condone him anymore. We don't own him anymore. We don't claim him anymore.
Like him no more.
Now we're just gonna go into normal news. Lighten the mood a little bit.
Normal news.
Normal news. The Saints announced on Friday that they are planning to meet with Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore after Super Bowl 59, suggesting he might be New Orleans' top coaching candidate. I also heard.
Oh well, there's more bad news for the Saints. I don't know if you saw that.
Let me finish this.
Came out today.
Let me finish this, and then I'll let you.
No, don't we want to do the bad news? We want to get rid of all the bad news.
All right, go ahead.
The Saints report came out today that the Saints helped the Catholic Church cover up their priest diddling little kids. Scandal.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, Yeah, go Saints.
Shit, man.
Very heavenly of them.
They'll get theirs. Karma comes around.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were looking at Kellen Moore, like suggesting might be their top coaching candidate. I also heard, per Deanna Rossini, NFL insider for The Athletic, that Moore might not want the Saints job due to the lack of stability at the quarterback position. So kind of interesting there. They're holding out.
And the cap space. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
they're kind of in cap hell, aren't they?
$50 million below the. Yeah, they kept kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Can't be doing that.
No.
Gotta pay the piper.
So honestly, pretty interesting. That's pretty surprising because I feel like if you're a high profile like offensive coordinator, you usually get a job like in the offseason, right? So kind of interesting there that he's like, nah, I don't want to do it. Like y'all don't have a quarterback. So interesting. We'll see.
I think he's still gonna take the job personally.
Yeah, me too.
There's only 32 of these jobs. You never know, like if you're gonna get another shot at it.
I agree.
And like honestly, is it gonna get any better than this Eagles team on the offense? And honestly, he's low key been mid. Like their offense is not even their top.
He's
their
been
potential.
fine, dude. He's been good. I think.
Yeah, but they're like ranked like 12th, 13th in offense right now in DVOA.
Yeah, but I mean, there's reasons.
Offense,
there's reasons.
With who's on this offense, it should be top 10 at the least.
Maybe they bring in another guy and he's better, but interesting to say the least. Interesting to watch. So we'll see how that plays out this offseason. I assume it'll be a fairly quick yes or no, right? I would assume so.
Yeah.
Sunday, sticking with the Eagles, current Eagles, former Eagles head coach Chip Kelly. Did you hear about this one? Hired by the Las Vegas Raiders to be their next offensive coordinator, per Adam Schefter and Pete Thamel. Kelly was last in the NFL in 2016 as the head coach of the 49ers, one and done. He had a previous 3-year stint with the Philadelphia Eagles, and was more recently coaching college football as head coach of the UCLA Bruins between 2018 and 2013, and last year as Ohio State's OC and quarterbacks coach. So Chip Kelly, back in the NFL. Pete Carroll making some moves. I definitely prefer Kelly as a coordinator as opposed to a coach.
I concur.
I think he's had
Eagles team when he's a coach was very solid.
Well, I'd say this: the only thing that Chip Kelly Eagles were injured. They were never injured with Chip Kelly. They were like peak human beings during that time. I don't remember them having like a single injury during that time. They were always well conditioned. That being said,
they've low-key been pretty decent since Sirianni's been on board.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Injuries.
Knock on wood.
Like
Yeah, they have. They have. The conditioning's definitely
They
been
only
there.
have one starter from the beginning of the year not playing. When they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, they had all 22 starters playing.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's tough. I don't think it's a fluke.
They're pretty healthy, man. They're pretty healthy. But yeah, Kelly, obviously just won the national championship with Ohio State. They had a pretty good offense. So like,
They did, yeah.
you know, Pete Carroll branching out a little bit, going not younger, but like from that college realm because Chip Kelly was a career college coach before his 4-year stint in the NFL. So I don't think he'll get another head coaching job. I'm sure this is what he's hoping, like turn around the Raiders and then use this to get a head coaching job. But buyers beware. I like it. We'll see how it plays out. Moving on, Monday. Big news. Browns defensive end and reigning defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, has officially requested trade from the Browns. Garrett announced in a statement on Monday. He made some comments last month. I think I brought this up on one of the previous shows, but he was like, yeah, I'm meeting with them in the offseason. Like, I'm making it very clear that, like, they have to have an immediate plan to win. I'm going to make that clear in our offseason negotiations. Still got 2 years on his deal. He signed a 5-year, $125 million extension back in 2020. But I don't believe there's any more guaranteed money. So he's going to be a huge trade asset, definitely come March once the free agency season starts. Where do you like him to land, Kyle? Because I was trying to think about this, and I mean, who's going to because the GM
I think, in my opinion, I think there's like, I could see there's like 4 teams that I think he's most likely to land to. I think obviously he wants to go to a contender.
Mm-hmm.
I think based on his current age, I don't think this is a contract deal. I think he just wants
No,
to
he's
be on a
not that
contender.
old. Like, he's not that old.
Based on his statement that he posted on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that he wants to go to contender. I think teams that I think could go for him are, I think, the Detroit Lions, with the way their defense collapsed this year. I could see with new coordinators them
Bro,
trying to make a move.
that would be fucking scary. Him and Hutch.
The more interesting
Oh,
thing is how much it's going to take to get him. But I could see the
yeah.
Lions going for him. I could see the Bills going for him and get a person on the defensive line. I can see Washington with the cap space that they currently have, and also the fact
that's
that
what worries
their
me,
defense
dude.
also kind of ruined them at the end of the year.
That's what worries
And
me.
to be
If
honest,
he goes
I know
to
it's a homer pick, but I could see the Eagles doing it.
He likes the
This
Eagles.
screams Howie all over
He
it.
likes the Eagles.
The Eagles, honestly, their biggest question mark going into next season is going to be the edge rusher.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat's a free agent, and reportedly he's going to gaining a lot of interest on the free market.
I don't think he's
I don't think with how the Eagles treated him this past offseason, like almost trading him, lowering his salary, I don't think he's going to be back on the Eagles. Bryce Huff's been nothing but a disappointment. So really all you have is Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt.
Yeah.
But it's a position that they're going to need to address.
Yeah.
And I think they're in their window's open, so you might as well try to go for them.
Yeah. So they actually asked Andrew Berry, who's the Browns GM, they asked him about this last week, and he's like hypothetically, would you do it for like 2 first-round picks? And he's like, no, not gonna do it. So obviously
obviously not gonna do it.
This is before Garrett came out and said trade me, but like interesting that he said he still wouldn't do it for 2 first-round picks. So like, what's the offer gonna have to be, right?
Well,
I mean, it's fair though, dude.
You're gonna say that publicly.
Yeah,
behind
but like
closed doors, you never know.
Yeah, you might.
This Luka trade.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, you don't want to say anything publicly because people are gonna roast you. Either way,
Yeah,
obviously
right.
the Luka trade, that's nuts. We don't even need to get into that.
No, please.
But I'm just saying, like, no GM is going to outwardly say what it costs.
Yeah,
you only hear from the reporters that have like the weaves and the inside sources.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think it's gonna be one of those 4 teams.
Yeah,
I
could see it.
being
I really
else.
think the Redskins, or the Commanders, I should say, they are probably my best bet, which sucks.
I would pick the Commanders. I could
that
see that
stinks,
happening.
dude. Really does.
That.
But that would probably be my best bet.
As someone that watched Myles Garrett live earlier this season,
man's a beast.
Dude is a freak athlete. He single-handedly blocked.
He's a beast.
That Jake Elliott field goal. He was like the only one putting any pressure on Hurts in that game. He's the reason why that game was ugly and close to begin with. So yeah, he's a freak of nature. I would love him on the Eagles, but we'll see what happens.
Speaking of trade requests, last night I was on my Instagram and I saw Cooper Kupp made a post and he's like, "Yo, the Rams are seeking an immediate trade, and the team will be working with myself and my family to find the right destination." So this one's not as big of a shock because if you remember at the trade deadline this year, there were rumors.
Yeah, there were talks
going
of trading
around.
him.
Yeah, and then I think the Rams were on the cusp of like 2-5, and then they played the Vikings on that Thursday night game and won, and then they just went on a little bit of a winning streak, and then they ended up not dealing Cup. So this one's not too big of a surprise. The only thing is though for this one, right? So unless his contract is renegotiated, his new
contract will have to be
because his new team would have to pay him $20 million next year and then almost another $20 million in 2026. And if the Rams do that, then their dead cap would be over $17 million. So it's like not a really good situation for like either team to get involved in right now. But
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a late day 3 pick. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be shocked
just try
how
and like,
little he's gonna go for.
Dude,
he's not going to get traded for much.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a 6 or maybe like a 4th round swap for 2-6 or something.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be a lot with how he performed this year, how injured he's been. If anybody trades for him, it's probably to use him as like a complimentary 3 or maybe as a piece to help a rookie QB or a young QB succeed.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Maybe Washington, maybe Buffalo.
I could definitely see it.
Maybe Carolina.
Maybe the Raiders, dude. Maybe the Raiders.
Maybe even the Raiders, depending on
I could see that.
Go with quarterback. But it's gonna be someone. They're gonna use him as either like a complimentary piece to the offense or someone to help.
Bro, I don't know if they can do it.
Similar to that Adam Thielen role to Bryce Young.
Yeah, right. I don't know if they can do it, but like the thought that came into my mind was like, what if Green Bay got him? Like, wouldn't that be kind of crazy?
I think that would.
If Green Bay had the money to do it,
that kind of a move.
Yeah, I don't
knowing Green
like
Bay.
Historically, I don't think they're the type to do it. I agree with you.
They're not going to trade for like an aging vet like that. That's just typically not how Green Bay runs, especially because it's such a small market. They don't actually have an owner. Green Bay really likes to develop their own players. So it's kind of shocking that they even brought it. And then if they get a free agent, it's more like a younger guy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you, but like I think that would be kind of cool. I was just thinking about that. I don't know. I have no idea if there's any validity of that.
I would like Buffalo because I think Buffalo would be pretty cool to have him as like a dependable third down receiver.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with him with Allen. And then I think Washington, as much as I don't like it, I think he would be really well with Washington.
Yeah. So interesting. There's got a couple stories to keep an eye on heading into the offseason. Other quick news, the Texans hired Rams assistant Nick Caley as their new OC, replacing Bobby Slowick. And today, Mason Crosby retired after 17 years in the NFL, 16 of which were with the Packers. He got a ring. Farewell, Mason.
He hasn't been doing anything in the NFL for what, like 4 years?
Well, last year he was on the Giants. He was a Giant.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was a Giant last year. Oh, and then the previous 16 years were with Green Bay.
Oh, you're right. I remember him.
Yeah, he was there. I don't think he was like particularly that good, but he was like 5 to 7.
He was at the game I was at week 18 where I was very sad and I left early. Sad.
All right.
Sad.
Let's move on. I do want to delve into my season recap, which if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. It's at @picks_NFL. Get to see all my predictions there. Obviously, we're going to talk about it, more in depth on the podcast, and like the recaps of each game and whatnot. But I did post my season recap, so I pick every game straight up. That's why it's called the Picks Podcast. That's where it stems from, is me picking every game straight up, no bets, no lines, just straight up. So my final record, Kyle, 184-88, 67% winning percentage.
Wow.
That's my best winning percentage since my first year picking every game in 2018. Over 7% better from last year. I'm pretty proud, dude. I did pretty good this year, honestly. Pretty solid. I thought I did pretty good.
I had no losing weeks.
I had no weeks with an under 500 record. I was very, very happy about that. I was best. Can you guess which teams I was? I don't know if you're pulling it up right now or looking at it.
I have it up right here. I did look at it earlier, but I wanted to know.
All right, so I won't ask you because if you're looking at it. So I was best at picking Giant and Chiefs games. Obviously the Chiefs. I think I picked against them once or twice this year. Maybe twice this year. So I went 15-2 picking Chiefs games, 14-3 picking Giants games. I knew they were gonna stink this year. They were favored week 1 against the Vikings, and I'm like, nah, I was bad, or I was worse, I should say. I was worse at picking Falcons, Rams, and Seahawks games. All my my records for all three of those teams were 9-8.
Yikes.
They were kind of hard. I look back at the Rams and I was like, damn, I should have. There were definitely some weeks I should have been picking the Rams more.
You were definitely low on the Rams for a while. They had such a bad start.
I know, yeah. I thought they were just gonna burn out, and like the whole trade deadline rumors, I was like, oh, they're fucking done. But they bounced back and they made it all the way to the divisional round. They won a playoff game, so
yeah.
I was really high on the Niners earlier in the year. I picked them to go 11-6. Their actual record was 6-11. I was really high on the Bengals too. Obviously, if you watched the inaugural
if you watched
show,
the early season, we were very high.
We were high on Cincinnati. And Bill Belichick did not take us to Cincinnati.
Big rip.
Yeah. The Jets. I picked them 9 out of 17 times, and their actual record was 5-12. So like not too good.
Wow.
Kind of high on the Jets. I think the most impressive thing is that I didn't pick Jacksonville once this year. I picked them to go 0-17, bro. I mean, granted, my record picking their games was 13-4 because they won 4 games. So, who's a real winner? I regret nothing. I nailed the final records for 9 teams. That'd be the Commanders, Cowboys, Bucks, Falcons, Dolphins, Ravens, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. Nailed all those. I'm not gonna get too much into my best and worst picks because I feel like I can talk about that for a while, and there's obviously we want to talk about the Super Bowl. So, I will read off though to you my best games of the year because I wanted your opinion. I know that you were asking about this, and I don't think I gave you a definitive list.
So, I will say the one pick I liked how half your picks of the worst picks are Saints because Saints are doo-doo crap.
Yeah.
I called that.
I know there are a lot of bad ones there. There are a lot of bad ones there.
All right. Your best games of the year.
Number 10 from week 12. It's Cowboys and Commanders. That's the one with the crazy ending where they had like 40 points in the fourth quarter within like 8 minutes. Just because it was so crazy, right? Like I've never seen an ending.
Yeah, the fourth quarter alone.
The fourth quarter alone was crazy.
Top 10 for sure.
Number 9, also week 12. We've got Steelers and Browns. That's the Thursday night snow game. Dude, if you don't like snow games, go take a hike. Snow games are awesome.
Yeah, snow games are the best.
Snow games are dope. I love snow games. And obviously Jameis Winston's been a giant meme this year. So like I had to get it in there.
Keep in mind, I think this is only regular season, correct?
Yes, this is only regular season. Yeah, because obviously you could just load up on playoff games. So like I just kept it to the regular season. Number 8, we got Commanders, Bengals. You're gonna hear a lot of Bengals games coming up because the Bengals played in a lot of crazy games. Was it Commanders, Bengals, week 3? That was kind of Jaden Daniels' coming out party. There's a lot of back and forth in that game. I thought it was a really good football game. Number 7, we got
very solid pick.
Week 5, Ravens, Bengals part 1. So this is the first time they played. This is the overtime game where there was like, what's going on? There was like almost 1,000 total yards. There were 9 touchdowns between Burrow and Lamar. Crazy back and forth. So I got that one in there. Number 6, week 17, Broncos and Bengals. That's when the Bengals won in overtime. The Mims catch. Yeah, you had the what was it? The Bengals take the lead with like a minute left, and then the Broncos go down. You had the crazy Mims catch, and then there was like the missed field goal. Missed field crazy.
Goal in overtime.
T. Higgins 3 touchdowns. Yeah, crazy. Number 5, we've got Bills and Lions from week 15. That's the 48-42 game. Over 1,000 total yards. Highest scoring game of the year. It was highlight after highlight. I thought that was a very fun game to watch.
Very intense game. Very good game.
We've got number 4. We've got week 5, Bucks at Falcons. That's the Falcons winning in overtime. That's when Kirk Cousins threw for 500 yards. I mean, that was a great football game to watch. Crazy.
Phenomenal game.
Overtime win. Number 3. All right, we got the top 3 here. Number 3, week 18, Panthers, Falcons. Panthers
incredible
win
game
in overtime.
Big stakes on this game.
They eliminate the Atlanta Falcons from playoff contention.
The Panthers finished with a better record than the Saints.
Yeah, it was big for you.
The Saints finished last.
Objectively, it was a great.
As I predicted.
Shut up, man. Objectively, it was a great football
I've
game.
always loved him.
Bryce Young. Yeah, when's your Bryce Young jersey coming in?
It's coming in. Watch out. Next year,
coming.
baby.
It's coming. All right. Number 2. We've got Week 10. Bengals, Ravens, Part 2. So this is the second time they play. Game. Ravens win again. So Ravens swept them this year. This is the one where the Bengals went for 2 and didn't get it. Crazy game. The stakes were even higher this time. Huh? What?
I said you hate to see that.
Oh, yeah, you hate to see that. I thought you said, did you see that?
You know, I get the 2.
Number 1. This was hard. I went back and forth on this for a while. But we've got Week 14. Buffalo Bills at Los Angeles Rams. Rams win 44-42. This was the best game of the year. Dude, this had to be the best game of the year.
Incredible game.
This was crazy back and forth. Rams were up like 17 in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen, first player in NFL history, 3 passing, 3 rushing touchdowns in the same game. Crazy highlight after highlight. I thought this was the best game of the year. So that's what I went with. So cool. We got the top 5 or top 10 games. I'm glad you think it was a good list because I didn't.
I think that's a very solid list.
Last year,
I cannot think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think there were
been on this list.
There were a few that I considered. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think there were like 5 or 6 other games I considered. But last year I asked people to like take a poll and we're like, oh, like I gave them like 20 or 30 games or whatever, and I was like, vote for like your best 10. So I kind of used that to like base it off my list last year. This year I didn't do it, but like everyone I talked to, they were like, it's a pretty solid list. So happy. We also did some KBT's analysis in the season recap. I don't know.
Yes, we did.
Did you have? I don't know if you had anything else on that.
I guess I had a little bit of stats. You know, obviously the KBTs. We finished 10-11 all time, including playoffs. Up 7 units all time, assuming plus 80 odds.
Right.
Varied week to week, but standard was plus 180.
Which I'll say real quick.
17 units.
I was gonna say, like, I think we had better odds some week. It was like 200 a couple of weeks.
DraftKings was weird and
had
better odds,
apparently FanDuel,
like any other book was plus 180.
Yeah, FanDuel or BetMGM or whatever Kyle was using, like, had the odds worse. So like I was getting better odds the whole year. So
yeah, but plus 17 units all time if you combine the feast and bet them individually. So big winners who did that. I was one of those big winners. Just a quick little analysis of the teams I was best at picking and the teams I was worst.
Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted to hear.
The team it was best at picking on the KBTs was the Philadelphia Eagles.
Was it the Birds?
Perfect 9-0 as a leg in the tees.
Let's go, baby.
6-3 for the being in the tees and the tees winning. The other one that I was perfect was unders. The KBTs was 7-0 when adding unders were 7-0 as a leg in the KBT.
Wow, you gotta do more unders next year then.
4-3.
You're gonna have to do more unders.
Is tees winners versus tees losers. Unfortunately, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was 6 teams that did not appear on the tees. These were the Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New Orleans Saints, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys.
But what are all?
And one of those teams will probably never be on the KBT.
The Cowboys.
I'll let you guess which one.
Is it the Cowboys?
And the worst team as a leg on the KBTs. Pats were 1-2 as a leg. 49ers were 0-1. Browns were 0-1. Panthers were 0-2. As much as I was high on my boy Bryce Young, he did.
Yeah, I remember the one. The one was in the Germany game, right?
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Panthers, Bears, 49ers, Steelers, Rams, and Pats were all part of we were the only leg that lost the Tees Club, and very sad on them. Very sad.
Hey.
And then undefeated as a part of the KBTs was the Giants, 1-0, perfect on their KBTs appearance. The Lions, 1-0. The Jets, 1-0. And then the Commanders were 2-0.
Wow.
Appearing on the KBT.
Wow.
Wow. Must be because of Aaron's great Commanders facts.
Yeah,
But
probably.
those are your quick little KBT stats. We'll be
Probably.
back at you next year.
Dude,
Hopefully even better.
Yeah, I hope
10-11 on a plus 180 bet on the season. Very solid.
That's like
very
almost 50% and your plus money on it. So like
we did have an incredible run between weeks 5 and week 13.
God, dude.
We went
literally I was literally ready to go to war with Kyle. I was like, Kyle, if you give me
we went like 8-2.
Bro, I was like, yeah, and then Thanksgiving was
incredible.
Like amazing because I had lost I lost a few bets, like prop bets that I bet straight up. I'm like, damn. I bet the each of them individually and the feast, and I was like, Kyle literally just saved Thanksgiving for me. I was like, holy shit, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, but no less than 2-2, which I think is a pretty impressive.
Well, no, I think the fact that the fact that we're plus money, like that we're positive here, and like we're really positive if you took all of our advice is like awesome, right?
Yeah. It was pretty hot and cold. We were started off.
We were.
Then we went on a run.
You were pretty streaky this year
with a couple losses,
right.
And then we went on another 0-5 streak from 14 to 18.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, 2-0.
Playoffs, we bounced back. Yeah, definitely needed the playoffs.
Bounced back a little bit. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a season in review. If you want to check out more analyses, head over to Instagram, my Instagram, Picks NFL. And you'll be able to look through all of the season recaps, all of them from previous years too.
All the data.
All right, we've got a football game to talk about. Super Bowl 59, Sunday, February 9th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles Part 2.
Boo, 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 boo.
I am excited. Kyle and I are gonna watch the game together, by the way. It's gonna be sick.
Yes.
Your parents are either gonna love me or hate me.
Yep.
Which I apologize for. I'm literally first thing I'm asking is like, hey, Miss Brady, what are your rules? A, so I don't break them, and B, do I have to go outside if I'm angry? Which will probably be yes and yes.
I know I'm starting out with a disclaimer that anything I say and do cannot be held against me.
Yeah, that too.
You know that meme?
That would be a good disclaimer.
Like we listen and don't judge. That's gonna be the attitude towards this.
Yeah, right. All right. Before we get into our analysis, I'll give a little information on the game. The announcers will be Ken Burkhart and Tom Brady. Singer-songwriter John Baptiste will be doing the national anthem. Kendrick Lamar and SZA will be performing at the halftime. The Chiefs opened at a 1.5-point favorite and are still currently a 1.5-point favorite over Philadelphia.
Yeah, line has not moved.
Yeah, which is
kind of nutty.
Yeah, a little crazy, little interesting. Ron Torbert will be officiating Super Bowl 59. Chiefs are 3-1, including the 2022 AFC Championship game in games that Torbert's officiated. The Eagles' record with Torbert is 5-3, including 2-0 this season. So, injury report. Now, this is kind of, game analysis too. Reed said today that the Chiefs have no injuries. That's big, man. No injuries is kind of wild. So they're basically 100%. Eagles had a number of players miss practice last week, which I'm sure you saw, Kyle. Like between Wednesday and Friday, it was like, namely Saquon, Devontae, AJ Brown, Landon Dickerson, just name a few. Most were due to like rest and, workload management. Cam Jurgens, who was like actually injured, said he's good to go for the Super Bowl. That's something he confirmed with reporters yesterday. I think the only major concern for Philadelphia, as far as I'm concerned, is Kenny Gainwell, right? Because he's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And dude, Brandon Graham. How about Brandon Graham returning to practice after freaking tearing his full freaking pec? Kind of nuts. Kind of nuts that he's even attempting to go, but like even crazier if he actually plays, right?
Yeah.
Dickerson's banged up too.
I think he's gonna play.
Yeah, dude, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if BG plays. I'd be very.
I think he is gonna play. Why would you not? Why would
you?
Dude,
because it's just crazy to me. I don't know. Kind of wild.
We'll see.
Landon Dickerson was banged up too, but I've heard it's unlikely that he doesn't play. So both teams pretty healthy, all things considered. I would say both teams are pretty healthy. Now Kyle, I got a question to ask you. Did you watch the opening night ceremony at all yesterday?
I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't like watch the whole thing.
See, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched like highlights and like little clips and stuff. But like,
I heard it was chaos through my podcast that I listened to. I heard it was like one of the most poorly run media nights of all Super Bowl time.
I'll get into that in just a minute, but like the ceremony itself was kind of cool. I never really like paid attention to that or anything. I thought it was just all like fanfare and stuff, right? I didn't really pay attention to it. But like the whole introductions, like the team introductions, like them walking into the Superdome, like they were like dapping each other up in line, like saying what's up to one another. I thought that was kind of cool. So AJ Brown didn't smile once, bro. AJ Brown was like literally like, this is a business trip. Like it's all serious.
Dude, the whole team low key looked like that, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of them did. I mean, Jalen just that's his resting face. Anyways, just
true.
Go's gotta play, right?
Gotta play.
Bro, yeah. So like the media night was like fucking wild. Did you see Chad Ochocinco at all?
Yeah, he kissed Nick Sirianni, giving a little smoochy.
Sirianni's like mid question, and then he walks up to him and he's just like, what the heck? Oh, what's up? What's up, Ocho? And he's like, I was trying to get your number, but I couldn't get your number. And then he's just like goes back to answering. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then Jameis Winston was there, like in a suit and like tie and everything, and he's like, they're talking to Saquon. He's like, hey, I'm about to be a free agent in the offseason. He's like, where should I sign in free agency? And Saquon's like, I think the Giants need a quarterback. Fucking wild, man.
My God.
Yeah, I watched. I mean, most of the answers are just like pretty straight up. Like I watched Mahomes interview. I watched Jalen talk a little bit. I watched Saquon.
Did you see the guy who like asked Jalen Hurts like how to be more handsome?
Yeah, bro. Like, and he's like,
dude, it's just a DNA thing.
It's a DNA thing, bro. I was like, damn, Jalen, you don't have to do him like that. Crazy.
NFL headlines: Jalen Hurts calls man ugly.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So like, yeah, it was kind of a hectic media night.
Jalen Hurts.
They looked like
man's question calls him ugly.
They really didn't look like they were like it didn't look organized in my like it was just like
I heard it was unorganized. I heard it was terrible.
It looked very unorganized. Like, they didn't really know where to go and like I don't know, it just kind of looked unorganized to me. Yeah, there were some wholesome moments. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't recommend going back and watching the whole thing because it is, it's like
just watch the highlights on TikTok.
Just watch the
highlights. I'm sure like the good clips are gonna be on TikTok.
All right, let's get into some game discussion.
Game discussion.
First off, I mean, I don't know who I don't know who you've been talking to about the game coming up, but like I feel like the general consensus is like this isn't going to be a boring Super Bowl. It's not exciting. They're tuning out because they don't want to see another rematch. They don't want to see the Chiefs win. No one likes the Eagles, etc. I think objectively, this is going to be a great football game. Right? Am I crazy?
I agree, Matt. I agree. I think this is going to be. Say what you will. Obviously, nobody really likes rematch.
Right.
Nobody wants to see the Chiefs repeat.
I know nobody we're partial. Really I know we're partial, but like
I objectively think this is going to be a great football game. Just based on how the way these teams match up.
The first one was so good.
was also objectively a great game.
Yeah. Like I think it might be a slow build, and like it might take a while for things to get a little exciting, but like. I think
it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game.
Like first of all, I think it's probably going to be a close game, which I do think favors the Chiefs. If it's a close game, I think that.
Yes, I
think that favors Kansas City.
17-0 in their last 17 one-score games.
Yeah, so definitely favors Kansas City if it's a close game. But like, how could this not be a good football game? These are the two best teams in the league. These are clearly the two best teams in the league. How could you not be excited for that? All right, some game analysis, right? All right, so hear me out. You guys are going to have to take Kyle and I's opinion with a grain of salt, right? We're Eagles fans. This is well known. This is well established by this time. Lifelong, Kyle's been the better part of his entire life, okay?
Yes.
We love the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Now,
Eagles.
While that may peer through at points, you have to understand we are here to be objective. We are here to give you our honest-to-God opinions. So that's what we're going to do, okay? That being said, I think the Eagles match up much better with Kansas City this time around. I really do.
Oh, Matt, I have stats for you. Here. I wanted to bring this up.
Tell me, Kyle. Tell me.
I have all the stats.
Show me the stats.
One of the points.
I got stats too, but I want to hear your stats. I want to hear your stats.
I had my realistic take which is like my stats and all that, and then I'll have my irrational. Not I won't say irrational. My vibes take of why they think the Eagles are going to win. But first part of my rational take is a comparison of the 2022 Eagles and the 2024 Eagles, specifically the defense.
Okay.
As we both know, both defenses were statistically top of the league in both years.
Right.
But I think the 2022 defense was not as good as the 2024 defense.
I agree with that.
And let's look at their stats. The 2024, first off, the 2022 defense let up arguably the worst, not arguably, statistically, the worst Super Bowl performance of the last playoff performance of the last like 10 years. They were number 99th percentile in DVOA. In the second half, Mahomes had one incompletion.
Damn.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of
Can't win a game like that.
That's kind of wild.
And it was also even a 3-score game. Anyway, 2022 defense allowed 300 yards per game, about 20 points per game. They only played 4 playoff teams that year. The Giants, which bleh, the Vikings, which frauds, the Cowboys, which the Cowboys. One of the times they played with not even Dak Prescott, and the time they did play with Dak Prescott, granted, Jalen Hurts was not playing. They let up 40 points and they lost. And then they also played the Jags, who they collapsed. Oh no, they did pretty decent, but they almost lost that game. It was in the rain and early. They went 5-1 against these teams, but as I just said, not very solid playoff teams.
Yeah, right.
I
get that.
They beat Jared Goff by 3, but they let up 35 points. They lost to Taylor Heineke. They lost to Dak, let up 40 points.
They lost to Taylor Heineke? Wait, in 2022? Oh, that's right.
They lost to Taylor Heineke.
Bro, you're right. We did.
Lost to the Andy Dalton Saints, let up like 20 points. Jeez. No Hurts, though. Playoff was just the Giants, which were bad, and then the Purdy-less 49ers, because Purdy got hurt pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
They gave up 38 to Mahomes and only 1 incompletion in the second half. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Then the 2024 Eagles, 278 yards per game. That's about 25 yards less.
Yeah, but where does that rank, though, Kyle?
That's a field goal. It's still number 1.
Number 1.
I think they were number 1 for both.
Number 1.
17 points. Both in their respective years, they were both like either 1 or 2 in most of the categories.
Oh, really?
But 17 points per game this year. That's 3 points less. Again, they played 6 playoff teams. The Packers, which they beat twice in the playoffs and the regular season. Granted, they let up a lot of points in the regular season matchup, but that was in Brazil week 1.
Whatever.
It's just getting adjusted. They lost to the Bucs, but again, that was early in the year, and that was a game without Lane Johnson, without A.J. Brown,
and without a lot of heart.
Devontae Smith, and also it was really hot. So, and it was away. They lost to the Commanders. That game was fluky. They lost Jalen Hurts. One of their touchdowns was like on a really bad broken play.
Yeah.
If Devontae Smith catches it, they would have won the game. And then the Ravens, they beat very convincingly.
Yeah.
They lost by 8, but Lamar had a garbage time touchdown at the end.
Yeah.
They beat the Steelers. Granted, not really a strong playoff team, but beat them.
They did it
convincingly though. And then they beat the Rams convincingly as well.
Yeah.
They only let up like a touchdown right at the end. They were 5-2, and with their only 2 losses, not at full strength.
Yeah.
And this, like the one thing I'll say before, like they didn't really beat and lost to any really good. They didn't play any good quarterbacks last year. In 2022.
Dude, this list
year,
of quarterbacks.
They beat Stafford twice.
Bro, dude.
Let up 20 points and 22 points.
Dude,
and
keep
in mind, in the first game, it was just a garbage touchdown.
Go look at the list of quarterbacks they beat in 2022, because I saw a post about this. The list of quarterbacks they beat in 2022 versus the list of quarterbacks they beat in 2024, it's night and day, bro. It is nuts.
That's what I'm getting into now.
Oh, yeah.
They beat Stafford twice, and they only let up 20 points. Granted, that was also a garbage time touchdown at the end, so they really only let up
like 13,
12 points.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Or 13 points. 22 in the playoff game. It's garbage time, you know.
It wasn't garbage
Jordan
time.
Love
Anyway.
No. I'm talking about. I messed up. I was reading my notes. I messed up my notes. Beat Jordan Love twice. Let up 21. Granted, that was in Brazil. Shitty field. First game of the season. You're traveling. But then they let up 10 in the playoffs with 3 interceptions. Beat Joe Burrow, one of the best offenses in the league, the leading passer, and they only let up 17 points in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. They beat Lamar, only let up 19, with Lamar getting a garbage time touchdown at the end, so they really only let up 12. Beat Jaden Daniels twice, let up 18 and 23. Oh, Jaden Daniels, everybody loves him. He's so good. And then their one loss was a fluky loss without Jalen Hurts, and there was a broken touchdown play in coverage, and the game was away, you know? So this team
All that to say,
a lot of people told me they were not tested. And arguably, very true. They were not tested. This year, they were tested, battle tested.
Yeah.
And they're much better.
And
even statistically speaking.
Here's the thing for me is like, so priority number one for the Chiefs is probably going to be to stop Saquon Barkley, right? As best you can.
True.
And even if you succeed on that, you're giving, like, think about the last time these two teams played, right? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they all had really good games. Jalen Hurts threw the ball for over 300 yards. You're just giving them one-on-one matchups, right? And I know the Eagles have a very, like, they have Justin Reed at safety, Trent McDuffie, right? Nick Bolton in the middle. They have a lot of good playmakers on defense. But, like, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are also really good in their own right. So I feel like it's kind of like a double-edged sword for the Chiefs defense. Now they obviously Steve Spagnuolo, right? Great defensive mind, right? If I'm him, I'm emptying the playbook. If I'm Steve Spagnuolo, I'm dialing up every single
that's
unique blitz, like some shit you've never even seen before, right? Yeah, because it's the Super Bowl, obviously, but like that's what you're doing, right? If you're the Chiefs, a lot of man coverage from the Chiefs last time they played in the Super Bowl, right? And a lot of the chunk plays the Eagles had in Super Bowl 57 came when the Chiefs were playing man defense. Now, who's really
Jalen Hurts is
who's really good
quarterback in man coverage?
Who's really good at destroying man coverage this year, might you ask?
Jalen Hurts.
No, AJ Brown. AJ Brown, bro. So get this. I got this from Cody Brown Picks, which I'll get into. I'm going to give you some bets for later. This is one of them. Cody Brown Picks on Instagram. Brown averages 4.4 yards per route run from man coverage, which ranks number 1 in the NFL among eligible receivers. Chiefs are top 10 in running man coverage. Nearly 35% of their total defensive plays are man. Brown is coming off a 96-yard performance against the Commanders. Against a Commanders defense that also runs a lot of man, right? And he had 96 yards last time they played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So I'm keying in on A.J. Brown this game. I'm getting him the ball as much as possible. As, you know, like I understand you have Saquon Barkley. Obviously, you're gonna run the ball, right? Just play your game, you know. That's another thing too, right? Just play your game. Don't try and get fancy against the Chiefs, right? Because they have that black magic element to them. I feel like everybody who plays the Chiefs just tries to do something like extraordinary and like they try to get outside their comfort zone to like try and get an edge, right? Don't do that. Play your game. You are a good football team. Do what makes you work. You know, do what makes you play well, right? That being said, though, like throw the ball a little bit more, maybe. I think AJ Brown could have a big game. So I'm thinking the Eagles should try and get the ball to AJ Brown. You know, the defense is also really different too, right? So I saw the only returning starters for the Eagles on defense from 2 years ago are Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, and CJ Gardner-Johnson, and that's it.
I have a question for you, Matt, actually.
New defense. Go ahead.
This is a question I was going to say after I was comparing the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Objectively, is there anybody that you would, if you had to swap someone from 2022 to be on this 2024 team, is there anybody that you would do it for other than maybe Jason Kelce?
See, I was going to say Jason Kelce. Damn, that's a good question.
There's no one that comes straight to mind except I could see Jason Kelce.
Nah,
because he's a Hall of Famer, and then maybe someone on the defensive line.
Yeah, probably.
That would be it.
Probably.
Objectively, they're better everywhere else.
I would probably take Fletch over Milton Williams.
Milton Williams?
Yeah. But that's probably it, right? And like that's only because it's Fletcher Cox. And like that's not even to say Milton Williams is a bad.
Or maybe like Hassan Reddick over Josh Sweat, but like,
yeah, like maybe.
And even then, like not Nolan Smith, he's going off right now.
No,
objectively,
no, you can't.
You really wouldn't want to swap anybody.
No, really. Like so, all right. You gave me a bunch of stats earlier. Let me give you some stats about this Eagles defense.
Okay.
They rank number 1 in yards allowed, which is to say they allow the least amount of yards per game. 8 versus the rush and 2 versus the pass. Number 1 in points allowed per game, so least amount of points they give up per game. They let up the fewest first down per game. They're 9th in third down conversion percentage, so they're letting up the 9th least percentage of third downs. 4th in opponent red zone scoring attempts per game. 5th in opponent red zone scoring percentage. 1st in opponent passer rating per game. they are one of, if not the best defense in football this year. Okay. I think it's night and day, dude. I really do. I think it's night and day from 2022. And I don't know. Like, I feel a lot better as an Eagles fan going into this Super Bowl than I did 2 years ago. I feel a lot better.
I concur.
The Eagles haven't turned the ball over in the postseason yet. They forced 10, right? 10, and they have 10 sacks in their last 3 games. Huge. I think the number one area of concern for the Eagles is probably protecting, Jalen Hurts. Chiefs ranked top 5 in blitzing the opposing quarterback. They're top 5 in blitz percentage on dropbacks. I think they're like 6th in hurry, number 1 in QB knockdowns, top 5 in percentage pressure. So like, now you ask, right, how the Eagles done against that this year. So they've given Jalen Hurts on average the most time to throw in the pocket, 2.6 seconds. They rank in the bottom half of letting up percentage pressure, bottom 5 in hits, and bottom 5 in times hurried. So overall, pretty good, right? Like if you look at just the pure numbers, you saw the Rams get after Hurts a lot in the divisional round. I expect Kansas City to kind of follow a similar play pattern to that. I think they're 2 different defenses, though, right? I think you have to take that with a grain of salt because Hurts got sacked 7 times in that game. Not to say that the pass rush is any better in LA. I think it's probably pretty similar talent-wise. They just play a more aggressive style of defense, right? They just try to get after the quarterback. So you take it with a grain of salt, but I think Kansas City, what they should try to do is probably follow a similar edge. What I would do personally if I'm Kansas City, use your edge rushers, right? Get after them on the edges. Now, I know that's hard saying, right, because they have Mailata and Lane Johnson, who are 2 of the best of their position in the game. I think if you can confuse them, maybe run some stunts, right? Do something weird with your edges.
No, I think that's the way.
Send a corner.
The one thing that
like,
worries me is Spag doing.
Yeah, just do something like
stunts,
weird, man.
Corner blitzes.
Just confuse Jalen.
Blitzes are what worry me the most in this game.
Because I will say, like, Jalen's fine. He's been more of a game manager this year, right? He can still make the plays, right, to win you the game. He hasn't done it a lot this year because obviously Saquon's had a hell of a year. But the thing with Jalen is he sometimes hesitates. I've noticed that, right? And you've noticed that too, just by watching him this year. He'll hesitate sometimes in like key positions and like key downage, or like he just like he'll take a little bit extra to get out of the pocket. Like he'll stare down more, his first or second read a little bit longer. So if I'm the Chiefs, I pick up on that and I'm like, I'm trying to confuse this man as much as possible. That's what I'm trying to do if I'm Kansas City. So I think the numbers on paper, they favor Philadelphia in that department specifically, right? Protecting Hurts versus getting after him. It's just going to come down to who's coached better, right? Is it Jeff Stoutland coaching the D-line better? Is it Hurts making those decisions a little bit quicker, putting more emphasis on, all right, throw away the ball a little quicker, take the sack, run out of the pocket, whatever it might be? Or is it Spags being like, you're not going to understand what I'm about to do to you, right? So it's all a mind game. All that to say, I think it's a mind game. So on paper, I think it favors Philly. Might favor Chiefs a little bit more, right? Because I think it might be a little easier to confuse Hurts. But, we'll see. We'll see. That's why the game has to be played. Let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit. So we mentioned on last week's show that the Chiefs hadn't allowed a turnover since week 12. But they did have one against the Bills in the conference championship game, which was very consequential, Kyle, because the Bills scored a touchdown on that drive, right? And I believe Kansas City was about to go up 14-3, if my memory serves me correct. They were winning 7-3. They were driving.
Yeah.
So very consequential turnover. But obviously, besides that, they've been the best team in football at not, turning the ball over since week 12, only the one turnover. Again, we talked a little about the pressure, right? Josh Allen was under. Dude, this was crazy. I didn't even realize this. Josh Allen in the championship game, he was under pressure on 46% of his dropbacks. That's almost half, right? Like, just absolutely mind-boggling what the Chiefs defense has been able to accomplish. The run defense is good, but not great for Kansas City. The Eagles ranked number 1 in time of possession this year, so I think if Philly can control the ball, that's going to play obviously hugely in favor of Philly if they're just able to pound the rock down their throat, just establish the run, make it so, you're putting your tight ends out there, you're getting downfield action, and just let Saquon take care of the rest. I think the Chiefs, what they have to do on offense, is they have to get the ball to their playmakers in space, right? I think the Eagles play extremely well in coverage. I mean, we've given you a bunch of numbers over the past, 15, 20 minutes about how great the Eagles defense is on paper. They rank really high in all these marks, yards allowed, points per game. But so it might be a little bit more difficult for Kansas City to get the ball downfield, especially if the Eagles are, able to generate some sort of pressure on Mahomes. If I were Andy Reid, I would just try and shorten up the passing game a little bit at first. You know, do some screens, get the ball to your speedy guys. Obviously you're gonna run the football. You got to do all that good stuff, but shorten it up a little bit. Take some chunk plays. 5, 7 yard passes. I think that would probably favor the Chiefs a little bit, and then expand if necessary. Right? If you're seeing that separation, go with the game flow. If you're seeing that separation, you're getting that. Then maybe you try and throw it downfield a little bit more. And then do all your other passing plays, and you're going to have a script, right? They're going to have a script. But that's what I would do if I'm Kansas City. Personally, I would try and shorten up the passing game a little bit at first and then expand if necessary. I think the Chiefs should look to utilize the middle of the field a lot, try to find Travis Kelce. Had a big game in Super Bowl 57. He had 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Make him the safety valve, man. I mean, you can't, if you're going to go downfield, the play's breaking down. Obviously, Mahomes is a great scrambler. I think he had the most scrambles this year out of any quarterback on non-designed runs. So he can take off with his legs, and he's done it before. The Eagles' defense this year, they're younger and they're faster. They're probably about a similar tackling team if I had to, I didn't look at the numbers on the tackling percentage or whatever, but they're probably just as good as they were tackling, 2 years ago. So, but they are faster. That is true. So you got to have a guy in the middle, and that guy's got to be Travis Kelce. Play away from Zach Bond as much as you can, because Bond's a beast, dude. Love Bond. Bond's been awesome this year.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to run that stick route or that seam route, try and do it away from Zach Bond's side of the field if at all possible. Yeah, and that's really it for me on Kansas City, right? I think they have. It's simple. It's simple on paper what they need to do. Obviously, in practice, it's going to be a lot harder because this, you're going up against, like we said, a much better defense this time around. But I think the game plan is fairly simple, right? Just shorten the passing game, use your edge rushers on defense, have Travis Kelce run the middle of the field, let him be there for Mahomes if he needs to be. I think they're gonna put. I mean, I think if they do that, they're in a great position to win.
Yeah, unfortunately that's Kansas City's bread and butter this year, though.
Yeah.
They're leading the league in passes behind the line of scrimmage, and with Vic Fangio's defensive style, really it really limits explosive plays. Eagles are top the league in limiting explosive plays.
Yeah,
and it's really just methodical driving all the way down the field.
Yeah,
which obviously most of the time really elite quarterbacks can do. Then obviously Mahomes can. But, I mean, this is the best defense he's probably seen all year.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see if he's able to do that. And, I mean, he's more than capable of, which is what scares me.
Yeah.
I think if they do that, they show very exotic blitz to confuse
Dude,
Spags
limit got Saquon. Me worried, low key.
But that Mahomes' ability as just a quarterback and how efficient he is throwing the ball scares me. And then Spags' exotic blitz looks and everything scares me. Objectively, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think everybody knows that, but I think that those two items are going to keep me up at night.
Yeah,
most often than anything.
I agree with that. All right, final score predictions. So I'm going to get into some bets here in a minute because I do have some bets. But final score predictions, Kyle, I want to hear it from you.
Okay. One thing I was going to bring up, but I didn't.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, if you had more, go.
I have a little blind comparison for you, Matt. Okay.
Oh, all right. You got a quiz?
You gotta tell me which. What do you think of these two teams? How different are they?
Okay.
So here's team number one. They're 11-0 in one-score games. 327 yards per game on offense. 22.6 points per offense. 320 yards per game allowed on defense, and 19.2 points allowed per game on defense.
Okay.
The other team 11-0 in one-score games.
Oh.
361 yards per offense, a little more yards. 24.9 points per game, a little more points. 388.7 yards per game on defense. Not as good defensively in yards, and 25.1 points per game on defense.
21.
What do you think of these two teams?
What was the first team's points allowed per game?
19.2. So
versus 21.
objectively, the offense is slightly better, but the defense is a little worse.
I would take the first
both
team.
11-0 one-score games.
Are you asking me which team I would prefer to
well, obviously, I think you prefer team one, but like, how do you think they compare?
How so? What do you mean?
Like what would objectively, like, how big of a gap you think is between these two teams?
It's I mean, the defense is a little bit, definitely more of a gap on defense than offense, but I mean, I think if they played on paper, team one would win, but
yeah, team one would win, but objectively thinking through the league, the 11-0 one-score games.
What I thought you were would do is like give me stats about the teams this year, and then I would have to like guess which one. But I know it's not. Well, it can't be the Eagles this year because they're not 11-0 in one-score games. So now I don't know.
Oh, I'll give you a spoil. One of these teams is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And then the other one is the Minnesota Vikings of 2022, 11-0 one-score games. But everyone viewed them as a fraud.
That's a little cherry picking right there. I don't know.
There's a little cherry picking.
That's a bit of a cherry pick right there, Kyle. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man.
I don't know about all that.
One team viewed as a fraud. One team viewed as
because the other one,
Super Bowl.
The other one won a bunch of Super Bowls. That's why.
Well, I mean, also the 11. I will say, disclaimer: 11-0 Vikings did have like 3 really bad blowouts.
Yeah, bro, they got cooked. They had a negative point differential. They had a negative point differential.
59 point was their point differential this year.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
That
is the tied for the lowest.
It was the lowest
for a Super Bowl participant.
Yeah.
Since the 2015 Denver Broncos with the corpse of Peyton Manning at quarterback.
Hey, they won that Super Bowl.
And a generational defense.
They won that Super Bowl. Just saying.
They win that Super Bowl.
They won that Super Bowl, man.
And then the Chiefs are 17-0 in the last one-score games. I think I already said that. Can the luck hold? Can you
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, so the Eagles, so the 3 games they lost this year, right, were the Falcons game, which was a one-score game.
Falcons game.
Tampa beat them by more than 2 possessions, and then the Commanders beat them by 1 possession. But like honestly, when I think back, right, I know that the Ravens game was a one-score game. Let me just look at my phone so that the schedule's my background.
Eagles were 7-2 in one-score games.
Yeah. So the Commanders and the Falcons were the 2 losses. They beat Green Bay by 1 possession. In Brazil. But they've had a lot of blowouts this year. I feel like they blew out the Bengals. They beat the Steelers by 2 scores.
I was trying to find
specifically,
they played the Cowboys, but I remember
Giants twice. So
Colin Cowherd brought up. I was trying to find the stat. I couldn't find it, but Colin Cowherd brought up last year. I remember this specifically because I was mad. But that like I think the past like 5 years or whatever, like teams that don't have like multiple possession wins, they like don't win the Super Bowl, because he was like saying that for the Eagles, because the Eagles like were not like 10-1, but like not winning a lot of games by a lot of points.
Yeah, right.
They were in a lot of one-score games. I wish I had the stat. I couldn't find it, but that's what made me think of stuff like that.
Here's what I'll say, right? So I'll start with my final score prediction.
Okay.
Again, I know we're Eagles fans. You know who we're picking. All right, you know who we're both picking. I'll just say that. That being said, and take this with a grain of salt, I think the Eagles could win by 10 or more. I think they could, dude. I really
think they could.
I really do. And the reason I'm saying that too is because if I think the Eagles are going to win, I think they might have to do it by 2 possessions, right? You know the Chiefs, like, dude, if Mahomes you're up 7 and Mahomes has the ball, you're not winning that game probably, right? They're going to go down and score.
Yep.
That's even with the better defense and, all the bells and whistles this year. That's the same. The playmakers this year for the Eagles, obviously it's basically the same team plus Saquon Barkley, right? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So like who's the Chiefs playmaker? Like old Kelsey, like he's still reliable, yes, but like he's not as fast as he once
Xavier
was.
Worthy scares me.
Yeah, Worthy's pretty good. And honestly,
really came into his own this past 2 months. He's
looking like a number 1.
I think their best player on offense.
Yeah, besides Mahomes, I would say, yeah.
Besides Mahomes, obviously.
Who's really, really a good guy for the Chiefs too is Nico Remigio, the punt returner.
Yeah,
he's got some scary qualities to him. With that being said, though, so my final score I'm going to pick the Eagles. I'm going to say 31-23. I know it's a one possession game. I think
So you think the over is going to hit?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be a slow build.
I think it's going to be a lower scoring
I
game.
honestly could see like 10-7 at half. I really could. I could see something like that. I think the scoring is going to pick up in the second half. I think it's going to be a slow build, game of inches for the first half. I think it relatively, right, to the average fan, probably a objectively boring football game. But obviously, it's just going to be a grinded out game of inches, got to fight for every yard sort of thing in the first half. It'll loosen up in the second half. I think we'll start to see some more scoring. So I'll say 31-23 Eagles. And I'll say Jalen Hurts wins Super Bowl 59 MVP.
I have to agree with you. I have the Eagles winning. I do think the under is going to hit just based on how talented these defenses have been. The Eagles have held every team in the playoffs under 24 points or less. Kansas City's defense has also played really well. So I think the under 49.5 is a little too high for my taste.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's high.
I like the under.
It's high. On paper, it should
also,
probably be
one thing I will say that I will bring up, team. I don't know why this is a stat, but I saw it. Teams that have the bye versus a team that didn't have the bye week, 0-10 against the spread, and
really
1-9 all time, straight up.
Damn.
With the one win being the Steelers against the Cardinals, where Santonio Holmes had the great catch at the last minute.
The Cardinals had a bye that year?
No, the Steelers did. They were the one team to win with the bye.
Oh, I see.
I
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
1-9.
I had that. I had that.
Win being Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, I had that backwards.
The Cardinals.
I had that backwards.
Low key, kind of nutty.
Damn. All right, take that to the bank.
But anyway, I think it's gonna be more low scoring. I think my final score prediction, I think it's gonna be 21. I'm trying to think. I think it's gonna be. Trying to think realistic score combos. I think it's going to be 20-27 Eagles.
27.
I think Eagles win by a touchdown. Like you said, I think realistically, I think the Eagles could potentially blow this game. Have this game be a blowout.
I never said that. I never said that.
It's very dangerous to say.
I never said that.
I am saying it on record. It's dangerous. I don't want to say it. I have a gut feeling I can see this game getting out of control. And I would love it if that happens, but I'm knocking on all the wood.
I don't know about all that.
I think the Eagles do win by a touchdown, and I think it's 27-20.
We'll see.
The final score with Jalen Hurts winning MVP.
I know
everyone's saying Saquon. Like if you're betting the Eagles, bet Saquon. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a game to shut the haters
I think
up.
he just has a.
I think objectively he is one of the most underrated not underrated, but overhated quarterbacks in the league. I think he's definitively a top 10 guy. Dude's a winner.
Yeah.
Dude doesn't give a shit about stats. Dude just when he needs to make a play, this is like in the Packers game. Like obviously the Packers game didn't look good, but when he needed to make the throw, he made the play. He
always does. He
always does.
All right.
So yeah, I think 27-20 Eagles.
So we're kind of in the same ballpark. I mean, I got a few more points than you. But we're in the same sort of realm. Kyle, I got some bets for you. So obviously there was no teaser last week. There's no tease this week. I gave some props.
If I did have to tease, I'd do the under and the Eagles.
And the Eagles money line, yeah. And the Gatorade, right?
Oh wait, I have a bet. Can I say my exciting bet first?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you like the Eagles, but you don't like it's plus 100, I want more. You can get Eagles at plus 250. You bet on the yellow Gatorade. Lame.
This is
Eagles
wild.
NFC Championship game last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago or whatever. Nick Sirianni was doused in a yellow Gatorade bath. 2 years ago when they won the NFC Championship game against the Niners. Nick Sirianni bathed in what color? Yellow Gatorade bath. And way back in 2017, yellow Gatorade was poured on Doug Peterson. That's 3. A.J. Brown at media night. What was he drinking?
Yellow Gatorade.
Yellow.
Was he actually?
Gatorade.
Bro, that's wild.
Yes, he was.
That's wild because you actually
more support.
Kyle brought this up to me.
Yeah. Prior to seeing AJ.
Kyle brought this up to me like last week.
Reinforced my theory, and now you can get Eagles money line at plus 250.
Bro.
Yellow Gatorade.
I put a bonus bet on it. I said screw it, fine. All right, I like your logic.
On it.
Jesus Christ, Kyle. All right, here I'll tell you. I got some stuff for you to put some money on. All right. I
excited.
did. So yeah, I went 5 for 5 in conference championships. I just threw some shit
Yeah,
together.
Matt's money makers.
I threw some shit together that I liked, and it hit, and I won a lot of money.
You won more money
I
than
almost
you
paid
did
for
on the
my,
PBTs.
I almost paid for my whole conference
More
championship
units,
ticket.
I should say.
Which was awesome. Yeah. So I'll give you kind of advice on like how to bet these two, like because I don't like you. Here's what you don't do. Don't take everything I say and parlay it. Don't do that. I mean, you could and put like $5 on it, like just in case everything does hit.
No, parlay.
I would advise you not to do that though, and that be your only
parlaying.
Bet. I would say, all right. So I'm gonna give you some Eagles bets, and I'll give you some Chiefs bets. Number one for the Eagles, and I alluded to this earlier. AJ Brown over receiving yards 70. It's 70.5 minus 109 as of Monday. I already told you the stat. We get the man coverage. He does really well against man coverage. Chiefs play a lot of man coverage. I think it makes sense. He had a good game against them last time, and he just had a really another good game in the conference championship. I like this bet a lot. I think the Eagles will throw the ball a little bit more in the second half. If you're sitting there at halftime and he's like, "Oh, he's got 20 yards. What are you doing?" Relax. I think they'll get it. I think 70.5 is probably a fair line, but I like the over. So AJ Brown over 70.5 receiving yards minus 109 as of yesterday. Jalen Hurts over passing yards. The line is only 211.5. Minus 110 as of yesterday. Now I know Hurts is only averaging 190 yards passing per game this season. But again, my analysis, right? If the Chiefs sell out to stop the run, which again I think is probably going to be priority number one for them on defense, right? Those one-on-one matchups look very, very intriguing, especially with AJ Brown. I think this could favor Hurts tremendously, especially if the Chiefs get up too. If you like the Chiefs in this football game, I would more so entertain taking Jalen Hurts. I would take this one straight. So as opposed to Brown, you could probably parlay that with something if you'd like. I would take the Hurts bet straight by itself. Not as confident in that one, but I do like it. I do like the over there. So Jalen Hurts over 211.5 passing yards. Next one for the Eagles. Actually, final one for the Eagles. Saquon 100 plus and a touchdown. I mean, look, this hit last week. It hit the week before that. It hit the week before. It's been hitting ever since your grandma was born, all right? It's plus 108.
That did not hit in the Packers playoff game.
Yeah, it did.
It would have if Saquon didn't slide. Saquon did not score in that game.
Oh, he didn't score in that game. He's scoring in this game. Trust me. He's scoring in this. He's scoring in this football game, all right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel like this is a safe bet. The Chiefs have given up just about 150 yards rushing in each of their 2 playoff games they played this year. And now they're going up against the league's most prolific rush attack and the best running back in football, okay? So, say all you want about Steve Spagnuolo. He's great. I get it. But unless they stack the box on literally every single play and they put 8 in there and they literally just sell out, I mean, then Jalen Hurts is going to have 400 passing yards. But that's the only way I don't think this bet hits. So Saquon's going to get his. It's just a matter of how much. And this is another one I would bet straight. I mean, you could lay it, plus 108. It's 2 picks and it's plus, only 108. So not the best value, but I do think it's pretty safe. So you could lay it if you want, with other stuff that you like, or just take it straight, whatever you want to do. All right. Got some Chiefs bets. I'm taking Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. That's the first bet I place. It hit, it's hit every time he's played in the postseason, right? So he's 6 for 6 now. He was 4 for 4 entering this playoff run, but now he's 6 for 6. So I'm just gonna bet this until it doesn't hit, right? I mean, how could he? I know that the Eagles don't really give up a lot of rushing touchdowns, specifically to running backs either. They just don't really do it. But I think the Chiefs are gonna score at least 1 touchdown, and I'd be surprised if Kareem Hunt wasn't one of them. So I'll take Hunt. It's plus 140. I bet this on January 29th. So bet this one, like I said, was my first bet I placed for the Super Bowl. I took it straight. I think you could lay it. I think it's pretty safe. Next bet for the Chiefs, I think this is probably my favorite play, which I know you're not going to enjoy because it's a Chiefs bet. DeAndre Hopkins. I haven't heard a lot about him recently, right? He is a Chief, though. He's pretty good at football. The over-under on receptions is only 1.5, and it's plus 128 as of yesterday. This could be the best play of the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Now, Hopkins only has 1 catch in the postseason so far in 2 games. Not very good. I'm not sure how much attention he'll be drawing from the Eagles, since I believe the Eagles' primary focus will be to get after Mahomes and stop Kelsey and, like, the deep ball, trying to disrupt Kansas City's plan. Hopkins had at least 2 catches in every game he played for the Chiefs in the regular season. I just have a strong feeling about this one. I'm like 1.5.
Matt, to be fair, Hopkins only played 11 snaps in the last game.
It's fine, dude. It's fine. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. But I think the Chiefs are going to try and throw the ball a lot, despite what everyone's saying. I think
he's also going to probably be in Guantanamo Bay.
No, he won't be. No, he won't be.
Oh,
they're gonna put him on Worthy, dude. I know that. They're gonna definitely put him on Worthy.
Worthy's gonna be placed all over the field. Worthy's probably gonna be facing Coop most of the time because they put him in the slot.
They'll change that up if it gets out of hand. I like Hopkins over 1.5. I think that might be my favorite play. So I bet that straight. I put that in the lay if you want. Hopkins over 1.5 receptions plus 128. I think it's a really good value pick. Now the final 2, I should say. Kind of torn on which one I like better. I have Kelsey over yards, receiving yards at 61.5. It's minus 112. And then I got Kelsey touchdown, which is kind of a value pick for me. It's plus 135. So for the first one, right, the Eagles don't have many weaknesses on defense, but their linebackers, especially with Nakobe Dean being out, it's an area of, I wouldn't want to say of concern, but it's it's something to take into consideration. And then you look at what the tight end position has done against the Eagles in the last 3 playoff games. So like Tucker Kraft had an okay game. He did get a lot of catches, but Higbee had 7 catches for 54 yards. Ertz got like 11 catches for 104 yards. So like I know a lot of that was garbage time at the end of the game. But I don't know. They just teams like throwing to the tight end against the Eagles, I feel like. So his over-under on receptions is 6.5, which is why I was gonna take receptions originally, but like 6.5, kind of a weird number, So I think the yards ultimately are more likely to hit.
Catches.
Yeah, it's a lot. 7 catches is kind of a lot of catches. So ultimately, I think the yards is probably the play if you want to go for Kelsey. Kelsey bets 61.5. I feel like that's a very accomplishable goal for Kelsey. And then the tight end. So the tight end, the touchdown, I should say. Yeah, Kelsey anytime touchdown plus 135. He scored in 15 of his last 21 postseason games going back to the 2017 season. He scored in Super Bowl 57 2 years ago against the Eagles. Take this one straight if you want. Honestly, I think you could lay this one too. I'm leaning towards the touchdown probably being the better play. Obviously, you get better odds with it, And if you like the Chiefs in this game, you might as well bet it. I would bet the Hunt one first. I will say that. I would definitely take Hunt. I really do think Hunt's going to score it. I like that streak. It's worked for me 2 weeks in a row.
None of them are going to score.
None of them. It's going to be a shutout.
Eagles shutout.
So yeah, those are my plays. So you could do Kelsey touchdown, Kelsey over 61.5 receiving yards, Hopkins receptions over 1.5. Again, really like that one. Hunt anytime touchdown plus 140, Saquon 100 plus and a touchdown plus 108. I got AJ Brown over on receiving yards over 70.5. It's minus 109. And Jalen Hurts over 211.5 passing yards, minus 110. So I'm probably betting all of these in some capacity. Take that as you may. And have fun, man, because it's the Super Bowl, and I hope they give you guys a lot of free money to bet with. Those sports books be a little cheap these days. I don't know. I feel like the promotions on at least DK have been
Eagles money line
kind of shitty.
The only bet. And yellow Gatorade.
Yes.
And tails.
The yellow Gatorade.
Those are the only plays I will be making, plus a bonus to bet on Jalen Hurts MVP.
All right, Kyle, it's time for the
Q&A.
Question and answer.
Q&A.
Big thanks to everybody who submitted a question, by the way. We ended up getting a lot of questions, so I'm
getting last minute questions.
Let me check my phone real quick and my DMs.
Anything in the chat? Has the chat been empty?
Where's
our chat at?
My group chat is empty. My picks.
What about the comments, bro?
The live chat. The live chat's empty. Live chat's empty right now. Let's see. Yeah, I don't get anything in my DM, so I believe I have everything written down. Oops, don't want to bump the mic. So yeah, thank you to everybody who submitted a question. I'm gonna start off with a question from my beautiful girlfriend, who's right here.
Wow,
who submitted a question to us. So Liz asked, do you feel as though the Eagles would make it this far before the season started, and if so, what gave you that inclination? Kyle, I'll let you answer this one first.
Yeah, so Liz did not watch the first episode of the podcast, unfortunately. Very sad.
Kyle's calling you
based
out
on
right
this
now,
question.
by the way. He said he didn't watch the first podcast, which answered your question.
Oh well.
The first podcast, I did. If you heard, I did have the Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah.
This is something I was gonna go into, like in my vibes reason why the Eagles are gonna win. All my Eagles dreams came true and more. I said in that first podcast, I thought the Saquon edition was gonna be special. I thought at the time I bought a Saquon jersey within a week of him being signed. I bet on him to win Offensive Player of the Year in April.
Let's go, baby.
I picked him #1 overall on my big money fantasy.
By the way,
draft.
Kyle, what's the payout on that? If you don't mind me asking.
It was $10 to win 260.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's pretty nice right there.
Saquon, as you can see up here.
We've got the shrine.
The reason why they lost 2022 is because I did not buy a brand new jersey for the playoff run. Here's my Foles jersey that I bought within 24 hours of Carson Wentz. Not even 24 hours, within like 10 hours of Carson Wentz tearing his ACL.
Yeah.
Here's my Barkley jersey.
I didn't have a Foles.
Because I have a rule where I can't wear a jersey.
If they lose.
If they lose in it. And they lost to the Commanders when I was wearing my Barkley jersey. And I was like, fuck it. I want to keep wearing Barkley. So I bought this boy. I've worn him to all the playoff games.
I actually didn't buy a Foles jersey during that playoff run. Do you want to know why? Because I already had one. I did throw a Super Bowl patch on there,
but
though.
These are both like the official like Stitch jerseys. They were a lot of money.
See, well, the
this
Foles
was actually
one was
cheaper at the time than this one, and it's such a better quality. Like they really went downhill.
Dude, the quality is it's gone downhill. So
anyway,
obviously, Kyle, you thought this was gonna happen.
I also said one thing. I said to answer Liz's question a little better because obviously I did answer it originally. The defense I thought was going to be a lot better with the additions of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I didn't think it was going to be this good.
Yeah,
I do remember hearing Zach Bond on the Eagle Eye podcast and being started. And I was like, "Ooh, maybe this guy will do something." And then he did, even better than my own imagines. But I will say for Liz though, my big question going into the year of what obviously my expectations were my thoughts. My ceiling for the team was Super Bowl, but the big question I have this year, which I told everyone was, is this team the team that ended 2023, or is this the team of 2022? More so like coaching vibes wise.
Yeah.
And I think clearly we're the Super Bowl caliber team of 2022, first half of 2023, and not the collapse of 2023.
Yeah.
Little dicey at the beginning of the year with the Falcons loss and the Bucs loss. In hindsight, it looks like those were more related to injuries than anything else. But I would say when they beat the Bengals, when they beat the Saints, because I called that in my opinion,
that game was so
season.
sloppy,
I was like, they're not going to collapse. When they beat the Saints, I was like, oh, they're not going to collapse. When they beat the Bengals, though, and held them to 17 points, that's when I was like, this team is special.
When they beat the Bengals, that was the turning point for me too. 100%. I was like, we just went into their house.
Turning point.
They needed a win, and we beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like
then the other turning point was when they beat the Rams, because I remember I was out that night before for celebrating Liloff, and I got really inebriated, and all I was doing was shouting Eagles Super Bowl the whole night, really obnoxiously. And I was like, fuck it, we jinxed us. We're going to lose to the Rams. Then Saquon performed the best game of all time, and I was like, oh my God, they're unjinxable. This is amazing. And then the Ravens game, which I knew they were going to win, that Cooper DeJean tackle sick. And then this past divisional round game when they stopped Matthew Stafford from scoring with the big Jalen Carter sack and they're down in the snow, and then the
most nervous I've ever been in a stadium.
I was like, oh my God, it was very similar to me as I felt when they stopped Julio in the divisional round in 2017.
Oh, yeah,
I was like,
this
dude. Team is going to win it all. And I felt the same way, which was something that I didn't quite feel with 2022.
Yeah, touching on what you said, my biggest concern, right, was they essentially went through 3 defensive coordinators last year, and they looked like they went through 3 defensive coordinators because they were shitty on defense. Fangio was our guy, right? That's the guy.
Biggest jump to #1 of ever.
Bro, it's crazy, right? Like
26th ranked total defense to #1.
Yeah, like I thought they were going to be a lot better. I just didn't know they would be like the best defense in football. Which is why I had them going to the conference championship game, but ultimately losing, preseason. So I was high on them, so I thought they had the capability. I thought they would figure out the offense and like fix it a little bit, right? They were doing a lot of internal work. Obviously, they got Saquon Barkley, which is going to help any football team. So like, yeah, I kind of was like, tempering my expectations a little bit. But like once they went on that big winning streak, I'm like, they could win the Super Bowl for sure. So I would say my expectations definitely went up as the season went on, and now they're one game away from winning the Super Bowl. So I'm happy they're here, man. I'm just happy.
Yeah. Also, they if you remember, there was the terrorist attack in New Orleans on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yeah.
Very tragic. There was two friends. They're big Eagles fans. The one unfortunately passed away. The other had big injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagles invited him to the Super Bowl. And they talked. He said when he got asked, he's like, if you're sure you want to go because of like the trauma. He's like, yeah, I have to go. I promised my buddy we would go if they ever got back.
Damn.
And like obviously he died there and stuff. So if the Eagles lose, there's no God. So that's all I'm saying.
God, man. All right.
Vibes immaculate with this team. It's just they're not gonna lose.
All
they
right.
can't.
We got a few questions here from our buddy Tony. Big supporter of the show. Thank you, boss. All right.
Shout out
so
Tony.
Will Pix be coming out with new merch in the future? Heck yeah, man. You know what I really want to do? I want to do hats. I want to do trucker hats. I want to do like a snapback, something like this with like the rope. I think that would be really cool, and just like the Pix logo.
Sweatpants.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, kind of like a burnt orange. Honestly, I like the cream color, so like maybe we'll get like a matching hat.
Cream color too.
With that color in it. So yeah, I was thinking hats maybe. Could do shirts.
Hats would be solid.
Could do shirts. Could do shirts.
Tank tops.
Probably not tank tops.
Women's wear.
Stickers maybe. I don't know. So yeah.
Women.
Picks merch in the future. Heck yeah, for sure, definitely.
Hell yeah.
Where do you think Sam Darnold will end up, and what kind of contract will he get? So like I looked at the list of teams that need a quarterback, right? So that's both New York teams, the Saints, the Raiders, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Titans. They all need quarterbacks. To answer the second part of your question first, what kind of contract will he get? I'm thinking somewhere in the range of like 3 years, 100 to 120 million, something like that, and then like probably like 60 to 75 guaranteed, somewhere in that ballpark. Alternatively, the Vikings could also franchise tag him, which is something I really didn't think about until today. Which
no, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do. I don't think they'll do it. If they think McCarthy's ready, they won't do it. But if they don't and they feel like he needs another year, like he's just coming back from like major injuries, so like why would you even rush it, right? Like, and you were good enough this year, so like they might consider it. Honestly, I could see it. I could see him going to like the Titans.
I don't think so.
Or like
$40 million for a franchise tag, and it's like all guaranteed, and also the fact that like
I could
Sam
see
Darnold, like gave a goodbye message, ended on a sour note. I don't see them doing.
I could see the Titans or the Saints. I don't think it makes sense for either the Jets or Giants to do it.
The Titans have the number 1 overall pick, though.
I'll get to that in a minute, because there's another question on here that asks. Well, actually, I'll let you answer first.
I thinking about it more. I think I see him going to the Raiders. I can see the Raiders. They're too far back in the draft to really take a quarterback, especially with this weak class. I think with Pete Carroll, I think they're trying to reestablish like the culture. I think they take Darnold, and then next year the following year, then they go after a quarterback.
Yeah. From Tony's coworker also asked a question. He says, do you think a team will trade into the top 3 in the NFL draft? I think the Titans are going to trade the number 1 pick. I think
wow.
Yeah,
wow,
I think they are.
Wow.
I don't think there's a franchise changing quarterback in this draft. I think a lot of teams don't think that there's a franchise changing quarterback in this draft. The Titans need a franchise changing quarterback. They're not going to get it. So I think they realize it's not there, right? I think they realize that our best maneuver as a franchise for long-term success is to be stocking up on draft picks, getting a value pick, right? Somewhere like, find a guy you like and try and trade back to there, and then let someone else deal with the number 1 overall pick. That's what I would do personally if I had the first overall pick in this draft. I would just try and trade back. Especially because I don't think the Titans are in like a win now situation, right? I think the team with like the best chance, probably on paper, honestly, is probably the Jets. You could argue it's the Raiders. They have a pretty good defense, but I just don't think the Titans are in a winning position right now. So I feel like they should trade it back and like not just settle for the best quarterback in a subpar quarterback draft. So yeah, I think the Titans.
I disagree with
I
you
think the
there,
Titans trade that pick.
I think they're going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to take Cam Ward personally. That's my opinion. I think they're going to take Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I mean, it makes
they're
sense.
Guaranteed the number one pick that much. I can see if any of the teams are going to trade back in the top 3. My money is probably Cleveland. They really need assets because the albatross of the rapist contract.
I would have said that.
They need to get more assets.
Yeah, but dude, here's the
thing.
Other
teams in the top 3.
Here's the thing, right?
And I think the Giants, from what I'm hearing, are going to take Shador.
No, they're going to take Travis Hunter.
That's what I've been hearing. I think they're going to take Shador.
That would be a dumpster
New England
fire.
will take Travis Hunter.
That would be a dumpster fire. Well, in that case, give me the Patriots are going to be pretty good next year. Then that's the case.
I agree. I think Cleveland.
So you think the Giants are just going to botch? That is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to take Shador. I think the Titans are going to take Cam Ward, and I think Cleveland's going to trade out, and probably with someone to take Travis Hunter.
We'll see. We got another question from Tony. Will Picks be at the Super Bowl parade if the Eagles win? What do you think, Kai?
Ooh, big question.
What do you think? We haven't talked about this.
I don't think I can, unfortunately.
What? You wouldn't take off?
I have very limited days off.
I would take off.
And I have used them all for other future endeavors.
I would take off. Who
knows? I don't know. Maybe if they do win,
dude, when
they win, maybe my mind might change.
I got personal. I'll just be like, hey, I'm taking a personal
day. About the NFC Championship game.
We'll
see.
Going to see my team.
Might be sick that day. I don't want to say anything on right now.
Here's the thing.
But
if I wouldn't,
maybe I won't feel well or something. I don't know. I don't want this video evidence to potentially reach my workplace.
Depends on.
So as of right now, I don't plan on going.
It depends on 2 things, right? So it depends what day of the week it is, because it's probably going to be a weekday.
Well, it depends on them winning, but
obviously, I'm saying if they win. It depends what day of the week it would be on. And if I were to be going by myself or with somebody, I probably wouldn't go alone. That would be kind of. Yeah.
I don't think I go alone.
I don't know. I wouldn't go alone. I'd probably just watch it on my TV, but it would be cool to go. So maybe we'll go. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who do you think the Jets' starting quarterback will be in 2025?
Kansas City's not even having a parade if they win, by the way.
What?
They let the terrorists win. Yeah, they said because you remember there was a shooting last year.
Oh, dude,
so they're not even gonna have an outdoor parade. Bruh. So, why would they do that? Because they know they're gonna lose. So they let the terrorists win. I don't want them to win because they let the terrorists win.
All right, next.
The Eagles didn't.
Next question.
The Eagles didn't let the terrorists win. They let the Eagles fan who was killed by the terrorists and hurt by the terrorists. They let him go to the game, and he's still going to go to the game, even though it's where the terrorists were. So the Eagles are anti-terrorist. Chiefs are pro-terrorist.
Did you see the guy?
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Did you see the? I don't even know what to say to that. Did you see the guy?
Yeah, the guy shooting the gun.
Yeah, and then
the kid that died.
And then there's the guy's literally taking a video, and he pans back to the girl, and he's like, I think that was a gun. I was like, yeah, girl, it was a gun, dude.
That was
anyway.
That Temple student that died too.
Yeah, I saw that. That was sad.
We've all done stupid stuff while drinking and drunk and stuff, but
sad.
It just sucks to see that.
Anyway,
lose their life on that.
Tony asks,
peace.
Who do you think the Jets' starting quarterback will be in 2025?
Aaron Rodgers.
I still think it would be Rodgers, dude. I mean, maybe Rodgers moves on.
The way Rodgers' contract is, it'd be so much dead money.
I know, dude.
It's him. I don't see Rodgers giving up the money, to be honest.
Yeah, that too.
And low key, like Rodgers wasn't terrible.
No, he really wasn't.
There was definitely worse. He was arguably like a top 20, maybe even top 50.
He was a middle of the pack guy. Yeah, he was definitely a middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack, and I think like if this offseason you shore up the offensive line,
yeah,
bring it a grown up to kind of like reel him in, which I mean that's saying a lot with Aaron Glenn.
Yeah,
I think he can. So I think realistically, I think Rodgers will stay. If it's not Rodgers, I don't know.
There's a bunch of names out there. Honestly, like
there's like names.
My gut tells me
Jameis Winston is a guy I can see.
Bro.
I could see it.
My favorite quarterback.
I think that'd be fun. I could see Jameis Winston as the quarterback if it's not Rodgers.
Honestly, I think Rodgers moves on. I don't know why. Like I agree with all the points you made. Like there's so much dead money. Like it's just a lot of
Rodgers to the Raiders.
It's a lot of shit tied up. Yeah, right. I could honestly I was thinking Pittsburgh.
My bet all along was right.
I was thinking Pittsburgh.
I will say I don't know what it is, but I'm always like a year off on stuff.
What was I saying though? Yeah, I don't know why. My gut tells me I think Rodgers moves on. I don't know why. I feel like he has that kind of sway. But I agree with all the reasons like you pointed out. Like it makes sense for him to stay, and like a lot of money and like just a lot of baggage like tied up. So like I don't know. I don't even know if it'll happen. I'd full on laugh it was Sam Darnold. That'd be freaking hilarious. But I don't think that'll happen. I think if you do move on from Rodgers though, I think the one guy that makes sense for the Jets is Justin Fields. He's an unrestricted free agent. You could probably get him for pretty cheap, and he has
that'd be a good pick.
He has some talent, right? And like if it doesn't work out, like it's a it's a low risk, high reward sort of thing. So I think if the Jets were to move on, I would get Justin Fields and just try and figure out the cap situation as best you can. If not, it'll probably just be Rodgers. But my gut tells me it'll move on. So I'll say Justin Fields because that's the most logical thing. That makes the most sense to me. Kyle, what does FTB stand for? That's our next question. No, FTB.
FTB.
That's the question.
Fish the books. I don't know. Fish the bass.
Fuck Tom Brady.
I don't know what that could mean. Oh yeah, it could be that. I love
for
Tom
whatever
Brady,
reason.
Though.
He's doing the Super Bowl, man. I don't hate him.
He is.
I have a feeling the person who asked
Mahomes,
this is a Jets
0-1.
Yeah.
At Super Bowls where Tom Brady is in the game in attendance. 0-1.
Yeah, man.
Another stat for
Kyle,
you.
who's your favorite broadcast crew? That's a good question.
I think Kevin Burkhardt.
Oh, so this is your crew then for the Super Bowl.
Oh wait, no. What the hell is his name? I'm thinking. I'm not saying. I don't know names.
I don't. You gotta give me a name.
He's not one of the national people.
Well, Burkhardt's national.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm really annoyed at myself that I said the name wrong.
All right, I'll give you mine.
You do yours.
Mine is my personal favorites are Kevin Harlan and Trent Green. I love Kevin Harlan. I think he's the
Kevin Harlan. Yes.
Oh, that's your guy too.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Kevin Harlan's the best.
Kevin Harlan is.
He also does the Westwood One broadcast.
Yeah, dude, he's great. He's so good on the radio.
The best.
But dude,
I'm calling both games.
Dude, he is just so good. Like his voice is just awesome. I'll tell you, my least favorite is fucking Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. More so because of Vilma, dude. Vilma is just so boring and he makes no sense. Yep. Couple other ones I like: Ian Eagle and Charlie Davis. They're not bad. Or Charlie Davis, yep. Charles Davis. Tarico and Collinsworth.
What about of the major ones, like of the primetime game guys?
Like Buck and Aikman.
I think Buck and Aikman are mine.
Buck and Aikman stink. I mean, here's what I'm saying.
I think they're of the four major broadcasting teams. Got Brady and Burkhardt,
Tarico and Collinsworth,
Mike Tirico and Collinsworth, Romo and Nance,
and then Buck and then
Buck and Aikman. I think it's Buck and Aikman.
No, out of those four, I would probably take. I don't know. Oh, I don't know, Jim.
Oh,
I don't know, Jim. Kyle. I don't know about this one. That's a tough one. I don't know. I would probably take.
Honestly, I don't really. The commentary for me doesn't really like.
Probably Buck and Aikman. I
know a lot of people complain.
Historically,
it doesn't bother me much.
Historically, I've been
tune it out. I just watch the game.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, historically,
I think the hate on commenters is overrated.
Dude, Collinsworth stinks. Don't even pretend.
Dude, just let. I just
sucks,
watch,
dude.
It's white noise to me.
Is
this a hot take?
Don't
even realize who's
the
commentator half the time.
Thank God it's not Collinsworth.
It's white noise.
I'll tell you that much.
To me, it's white noise. I don't really care.
Oh, dude, there's Patrick
I don't even know.
Oh.
I don't care, man.
Oh. Oh, there goes my homie. Look at him go. Oh. I hate him, dude. I hate him. All right, anyway.
I like Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Burkhardt's good. I like Kevin
white noise.
Burkhardt.
White noise.
Yeah.
White noise.
All right. Moving on. Which team with a new head coach will have the most success next season? All right, here's what I'm thinking. I think you rule out Liam Cohen and Brian Schottenheimer because I think the Cowboys, they'll probably do just the same thing this year and they'll be mid. And then the Jaguars are just so bad, and I don't think Liam Cohen's going to move the needle that much. So I'm ruling both of them out.
I was actually going to say Liam Cohen.
I think really? All right. I want to hear that in a second.
I like Duval.
I think my answer, I think if the Patriots have a good enough draft and they do well enough in free agency, I could see it totally being Mike Vrabel. I could totally see them turning around that offense.
Oh, I forgot about Mike
Dude,
Vrabel. Just kidding. Yeah,
I could just see Mike Vrabel. Well, I mean, because you got Pete Carroll too. You've got, I think Ben Johnson with the Bears is kind of a wild card.
I forgot about Mike Vrabel. It's Mike Vrabel.
Aaron Glenn with the Jets.
And Ben Johnson too.
Yeah, I think
those three.
I think Ben Johnson's kind of the wild card of that group, and then I think I don't know.
I think he's not going to live up to the hype.
I think that the Jets with Aaron Glenn, I think it's a pretty good fit. I just think the Jets are like not on the cusp of turning it around in one season.
That's what the thing is. It's like, obviously, I think some of these coaches that I'm not saying right now, like I think Pete Carroll is a good hire.
Yeah. Like I just think the Raiders are too far away.
I just think if we're just going specifically next year, not overall, I think the teams in the best position to succeed for next year are the Bears, the Patriots, and the Jaguars. Purely because of their
just because of the quarterback situation and like other factors, right? I don't think they're going to improve that much.
Yeah, but I think any one of those three.
My vote would be Mike Vrabel.
Me personally, I think Ben Johnson's going to flame out because I think that'd be funny because everybody raves about him and how good he is.
He's the hottest guy this year.
Put the ball in fucking Jamison Williams' hands in that game, my boy. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's kind of.
I think that, and then I think Mike Vrabel. I forgot about him, to be honest, when I said Liam Cohen. I think that Mike Vrabel.
Well, why do you like Liam Cohen?
I like Liam Cohen because he was very good with the Bucs this past year as the offensive coordinator. He was the one in charge of the offense because Todd Bowles not an offensive guy.
Right.
And I think Jacksonville is not as bad as people think.
Duval.
I think Trevor Lawrence. Duval. I think people are just. I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna be good.
Liam Cohen makes great memes, so far, at least in his tenure. All right, moving on.
I got Nick Sirianni vibes from Liam Cohen, where it's a goofy presser, or like Dan Campbell, where like everyone makes fun of him for the presser,
plant the flowers,
and then he turns out actually be
like
really
good coach. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Because I think it's like if they're so bad at the presser. Why would you hire them?
Yeah.
They must be really good
just
behind the closed doors.
It's hard. It's hard to do that for the first time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you name one coach that had embarrassing first presser and that didn't turn out to be good. I don't know.
There's probably
I can name two that had bad ones and they ended up being good.
There's probably a lot. Anyway, all right, moving on. We got a few more.
There's a lot, but we don't remember them because they were bad.
Last time the Eagles played the Chiefs is coming from this is coming from Mindy, right? This is Sam, your girlfriend's mom.
This is my girlfriend's mom.
Yeah. Last time.
Some of these questions were from Sam, some from my girlfriend's mom.
Last time the Eagles played the Chiefs, it was a close game. What did the Eagles have to do differently this time on offense and defense to win? I'll go first on this one. I think offense, it's pretty straightforward to take care of the football. They had the very consequential turnover, the strip sack by Nick Bolton. Huge swing, obviously, in the game. Ended up mattering. They lost by 3 points. So just take care of the ball. I mean, I think the rest will stay for itself. It's basically the same team, right? Just adding Saquon Barkley, which makes you so much better. So yeah, just take care of the football on offense. On defense, I mean, you got more talent on defense this year than you did 2 years ago. I mean, you heard that from our breakdown earlier in the show. So I think on defense, I mean, a lot of it was because of the field. I mean, there was a lot of issues with the field last time too. They just couldn't generate pressure. They were slipping and sliding everywhere. So as long as the field's fine, I mean, they were a very prolific sacking team in 2022, and they're not like a top sacking team per se, but I feel like just the talent on the D line is a lot better, generating like pressure and hurries and QB knockdowns and whatnot. So yeah, I guess if you're being objective about it, right, just get after Mahomes more, right? Just make him uncomfortable.
Mahomes force turnovers.
Make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Let your speedy linebackers and your speedy corners, take care of him if he scrambles. But
they got to get after him with interior pressure.
Yeah.
The real question I'm really interested to see what they do is Joe Tooney's honestly he's one of the top guards in the league, and they moved him to tackle after that Texans game.
Yeah, interesting.
Remember
right?
They had a tackle was doo-doo crap.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
But honestly, I think the Eagles' interior offensive line is better than their edge rushers. So do you move them back to guard to help with Carter and Milton Williams in that group? Or do you keep them outside? And then now, obviously, I think you line up Carter with whatever.
No, you line Carter up. You line Carter up in the middle. You have to, because he's not. It's not that he's not technical enough. He's just not. He's just too big. There's too much man there. He's not going to get after.
But I think that they need to do that.
Sweat's fine.
I think they need to do what they did
Smith's fine on the
offensively in
edge.
2022, and I think defensively they have to do what they did in 2023. If you remember, they played the Chiefs in the regular season.
Oh yeah, they
Held them
did.
to 17 points.
Yeah.
Even though that defense was not nearly as effective, I think they need to do similarly there. Just get after the quarterback, make Mahomes struggle with big plays.
For sure.
And just like honestly, like even last year, I didn't rewatch the 2023 game. I did rewatch a condensed version of the Super Bowl, and just the big moments of that game was second half. They just let Mahomes get whatever he wanted, scrambling and all that. You have to contain him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like special teams too were huge. They let up the big punt returns.
Yeah, man.
And just you have to be ready for any kind of misdirection of motion because
Dude,
they had the big hot dog play and stuff like that. Just have to be ready for anything they can throw up their
special
sleeves.
teams is a third
And
of the
I think
game,
if they
man.
do that,
It's gonna
they
matter.
should win the game because they are the better team on paper. It's just that you could argue the Chiefs have a better coach and they have a better quarterback.
You got a better aura, apparently. Which is funny because the next question is: the refs seem to be in favor of the Chiefs. Are you afraid of that happening again? Yeah, kinda.
I this whole refs favoring the Chiefs bullcrap. I don't think the NFL's rigged. I'll just get right to the point of the question.
Okay.
I think that the Chiefs are so good at just like if they get any kind of advantage, they always profit off of it. Versus like other teams, even if they get a favorable call, sometimes they're not able to take advantage of it. The Chiefs just do. They know how to. And I think, like we said this before.
Well, we talked about
Mahomes
being a dirty player.
Yeah, if this game is multiple possessions, that's then you got to you have to let the ball out of the ref's hands. Like with the Bills, like the Bills lost. You could argue it's because of the calls, but the Bills also objectively were outcoached.
Yeah.
They played. They did the same play call 5 times, even
You're
though
right.
it wasn't working.
You're not
They
wrong.
objectively like they said that it's the ref's fault, but then why would you let a crucial fourth down be a play that you're decided where you're arguably only going to get a yard, so you're going to potentially leave it to the ref's hands. So why would you do that?
Yeah.
And I think that the Eagles just can't play scared.
Yes,
one thing in 2022, I think Nick Sirianni played a little conservative, more so than I was liking. I think there was that punt late in the fourth quarter when they were close to the 50-yard line. In my opinion, in hindsight, they should have went for it. I think Sirianni has to stay aggressive like he's been most of the year and just not play conservative.
Yeah.
I know trusting your defense is like punting it, but I think they should be as aggressive as possible.
So here's
like that fourth down call against the Commanders where it was 14-12.
Yeah.
That was a game deciding play.
You're right.
Say Saquon hold, whatever.
You're right.
I want to see them go for it there if they're in a similar situation. Super Bowl, which I think in the last Super Bowl they might not have.
Yeah. Here's my honest take on the whole ref thing is like I watched a really good video by Isaac Punts who like broke it down really well and like, looked at it. It's not so much that they're in favor of Kansas City, it's just timeliness and consistency has been down a lot. Like, and it just so happens that it's in games where the Chiefs are playing. It's more so that they're just not consistent, dude. And there is a problem, and they need to be held accountable because it was bad this year. It was the consistency and the calls this year. It just made no sense.
No, it's in general too, because like obviously Chiefs have more national games, so there's always more eyes on Chiefs games. But there's a number of games and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of reasons, right? They win a lot, right? So you're just gonna try and poke holes and they're not that good. It's just the refs, right? It's more so to do with the consistency aspect of it, right? Because you could look at any game this year where there was a number of bad calls, and I think you could say like that was called earlier in the game, but not in this situation. This wasn't called early in the game, but now it's being called, right? And we've seen that the last few years, right? And that happened 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, right? They weren't calling that the hold against James Bradbury. They weren't calling that holding on those types of plays throughout the course of the game. All of a sudden, it's a penalty, right? And it fucking mattered, right? Because instead of giving Jalen Hurts a chance, right, they probably would have converted on the field goal. So if they did, but you would have had Jalen Hurts with time on the clock and timeouts, right? So I think it's more of a consistency thing. And yeah, I am worried because I don't have a lot of faith in the officiating in the league this year. It hasn't been that good.
I think one thing that I brought up multiple times probably on the podcast already, I think the fact that sports betting and gambling has become so prevalent with
it puts more eyes on
sports in general. I think it puts a lot more eyes on the officiating. I think the officials need to be held accountable. I think the NFL is potentially facing a major problem. I know with all this reports right now that a lot of the NFL thinks that even Dane Blandino's brother thinks that the NFL is rigged and that he had his own brother signed an NDA.
A lot of people genuinely think it's rigged.
I think this is a big problem that the NFL needs to address, and I think they will by scripting it so that the Eagles win the Super Bowl to quiet the haters.
Yeah.
So another point for the Eagles in the vibe category, but I don't think it's rigged. But anyway, if they do rig it, please rig it to Eagles, Roger, if you hear me. But anyway,
Roger, father.
I think that the fact that a lot of people are thinking this way is gonna hurt them, and then also now with obviously they want to go international, they're bringing all this stuff.
Yeah,
the fear is
Eagles are going to Australia.
The Saudi money. I heard Jeffrey Lurie shot down the rumor.
Oh, really?
If anything, it'd be an away game. He said we would love to go, but we're not giving up a home game.
Oh yeah, they already gave up a home game. They gave up a home game this year to go to Brazil.
Yeah,
they were forced to go to Brazil. Anyway,
I think that the NFL is Well, we can go to the next question, but I think that the NFL is a problem in their hands. They need to address.
I think you're right.
The refs.
I agree with that.
Either through the instant replay or anything else, but they need to address this because this is going to be a big problem for them.
Yeah,
if they don't fix it.
I agree. Soon. All right, we got a few more here. What was the best game of the whole season based on skills / fun to watch? I already answered this earlier. I mean, look, you could take
postseason Eagles Rams.
Yeah, all right. So here's the thing. I said regular season only, and I said Bills Rams, right? Week 14. I thought that was the best game. Yes, if I'm including everything, not just because I was there, I just think it was the best playoff game so far. Definitely Eagles Rams divisional round game.
Yeah, Eagles Rams.
Oh my God, was that a great football game?
What a game! I went through so many emotions.
That was incredible. Great football game. But yeah, just even not even have to be there, just watching it on the broadcast.
Not even having to be there, just watching it. I watched it in 3 different places. The Devils. I watched it in 4 different places. I watched
your car
in the Prudential Center, in a bar, in the car, and in my own home. So all 4 places that you would watch football. I guess maybe not the Prudential Center.
Yeah, right. What's up with Jason Kelce and who is he rooting for? Man's been acting kind of shady, huh?
Recently, he's a rat. He's rooting for Travis. I'm not allowing any. I'm letting all my family because they're all rooting for the Eagles, mainly for me.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to wear the Kelces. I'm not bringing him out. I don't trust him. He's a rat. He's rooting for his brother.
Bro,
he's not rooting for the Eagles.
Kind of shady, right? He was at the pregame.
And then even his wife in the Amazon documentary was he's like, I don't even care about any other team. I only like the Eagles. She's talking to her kids. And they're like, Uncle Travie won. It's did you want Uncle Travie to win?
Yeah.
And even her and her podcast, she's like, I just hope everyone has fun. Shut up, Kylie.
Yeah, dude.
I don't trust you guys.
Kelce's, I don't know. Dude, he was at the tailgate for the conference championship game in Philadelphia and then flew and left to go to fucking Missouri for the yeah, crazy, dude.
Respect him, obviously. He's the GOAT.
Get your priorities straight, Jason. I love you, dog.
For his brother, which I don't blame him for. Go your brother, but I cannot be having all Eagle vibes.
Yeah.
Point bad vibes. I'm not a fan of his vibes.
Final question we got from one of your buddies, Kyle.
Some of my Instagram
thoughts on the Super Bowl color theory. I'm pretty sure this was a meme a couple years ago, but didn't it break? It broke last year.
You'd argue it had red. They say purple. There was red in it, and the purple was for Taylor Swift.
Nah.
It technically did break.
He's just trying to make it work.
I think it's just a coincidence. A lot of teams have red in their logo. A lot of teams have green in their logo.
It ain't nothing. They're gonna do some.
But point for the theory, for the Eagles vibes, if it goes true, the theory is that the bottom color of the logo is the team color of the winning team, and green is the bottom color. So points for Eagles on the vibes.
Yay.
So
what are we at vibes now? Are we four to -1?
We have very big vibes. We have the Eagles are anti-terrorist.
Yeah. Wait, they're anti-terrorist.
We have the Kyle playoff jersey run.
Yeah,
that's a vibe.
And then the color theory, right?
The color theory vibe.
And then the
NFL wanting to make it that's not seem scripted vibe.
And then the stat with the bye.
Oh, the vibe stat. Yeah, vibe.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of vibe stats.
5 vibes to 0 vibes.
Dude, no vibes.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, no vibes
Stinks.
for Chiefs.
Sorry, Chiefs fans.
Stinky.
All right. So that's gonna wrap it up for us for the Q&A. Thank you again to everybody who submitted questions. Gonna do this again.
Shout out to
we'll do this again another time, maybe next year. Definitely.
Yeah,
it was
maybe.
Fun. All right. I know we've been going for a while here. We're gonna wrap this up relatively quick. We got final award predictions. The NFL honors are
most
Thursday,
of them have already been decided, but
February 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by Snoop Dogg of all people. Snoop Dogg, D-O-double-G, bro.
Dude, he be everywhere, bro. He hosted the Olympics.
Dude, he be selling out a little bit though. He's got
he's
got those Chiefs vibes going on where he's in all like the commercials and
he's
shit.
got Chiefs vibes. I don't like the vibes.
Yeah, he's like iPhone on T-Mobile.
Bondoruski vibes. Oh, no, more vibe point for Eagles. State Farm. They do all the Chief stuff. Everyone hates State Farm because they let LA burn without more vibes.
Well, it's a little more complicated than
Eagles.
That. But I'll take it as a vibe point. Yeah. So NFL honors Thursday at 9. We'll just go through all the major ones. I know a couple of these are wrapped up, like Offensive Player of the Year, quads.
Saquon.
Yeah. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels.
Daniels, Coach of the Year.
What is it? Coach of the Year,
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I mean, despite the horrific and fraudulent end of the season for the Vikings, I think he still deserves the award.
Yeah, he deserves Coach of the Year for sure.
Defensive Player of the Year. This one's interesting. I'm actually so the betting favorite right now is TJ Watt. I'm actually gonna pick Pat Surtain to win this.
I am also picking Pat Surtain, but I think Zach Bond deserves to win.
I mean,
he's not going to win because of name recognition, but I think he deserves to win. If you look at his stats compared to Luke Kuechly, when Luke Kuechly won Defensive Player of the Year,
they're better.
They are identical, and you can argue even better.
Yeah, I think they're better.
So Zach Bond should be Defensive Player of the Year. And the fact that he's not is a travesty, and that's more bulletin board material for the Eagles. So another vibe point for the Eagles.
7-0. That's a whole touchdown and an extra point.
7-0 vibes. That's a touchdown and vibes.
Yeah, I think it should be Pat Surtain. I think he had the best cornerback season like in the last 5 years. Like, dude, he had an unreal year. It was crazy. He didn't really even have the stats. It was just more of just like the absurd amount of like the passer rating he allowed, like no yards, no catch. It was like crazy. I think it should be Pat Surtain. I think it would be cool to see a cornerback win.
I concur.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. So Jared Verse will win.
I think this is decided. It's gonna be
Jared Verse will win. It should be Quinyon Mitchell. It should be, but he doesn't have the stats.
He didn't have the picks.
He doesn't have the stats, bro.
Not that he doesn't have the stats. He does not have the interception.
That's stupid. That's so stupid to me. There's so many more important things than catching the football in a position that you're not even supposed to catch the football, really. It's stupid. He had an amazing... Nothing against Jared Verse. He had a fantastic year. He's definitely deserving of the award. Like, maybe I'm a bit biased, probably am, but Mitchell had one of the best rookie cornerback seasons I've seen in such a long time. Like, he looks so promising. He could be a superstar.
Just doesn't have the picks.
That's why I think it's stupid.
Zach Bond's not going to win because he doesn't have the name recognition.
More
bulletin board material for Eagles. Another vibe point for Eagles.
Comeback Player of the Year. It'll be Joe Burrow. Came back from a torn ligament, obviously, with a strong wrist. It's gotta be him. Coach of the Year we went over. Moment of the Year. What's the best moment from the year, Kyle?
That's a word.
It's like Play of the Year, essentially. They used to call it Play of the Year. Now they call it Moment of the Year.
Moment of the Year.
I already know what mine is.
The Saquon Barkley reverse hurdle, bro.
So if
it's not that, vibe point for Eagles.
No, hold on. So it's either that or the Jaden Daniels Hail Mary, and I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure. The moment that
killed the Bears.
Dude, I'm not sure which one it's gonna be. Like, it could easily be. Dude, it could easily be either. Like, I know it's a Hail Mary and it's like happened before, but like, dude, just the circumstances around it, like what the Bears and Commanders did after
Daniels to the world
was so
it killed the Bears.
Monumental.
That was a bit of our podcast for like multiple weeks.
I know.
It's the Jaden Daniels Hail Mary.
Yeah. But it's also like an athletic achievement.
I forgot about it.
Like, it's an athletic feat that no one's ever done, like the Saquon reverse hurdle. So I could easily see either winning.
Yeah, but that was like for what, like a 12-yard gain? Like, no, it's the Jaden Daniels.
It was longer than 12.
If it's like the moment,
it's
Jaden Daniels.
I think it's gonna be Jaden Daniels Hail Mary. That's what I've written down.
I didn't even know that was an award.
Finally, most valuable player, Josh Allen, currently the betting favorite, followed closely by Lamar Jackson, and then not so closely by Saquon.
I thought Lamar became the favorite once they announced the first team All-Pro team.
Nope. I looked at it today. It's Josh Allen. According to my phone.
I think it should be Josh Allen, but I think it's gonna be Lamar because every one of the first team quarterbacks has won it.
I think it's actually gonna be the other way around. I think Josh Allen's gonna win it, but I think it should be Lamar.
I think it should be Josh Allen. I think,
dude, Lamar had a better year this year than he did last year, and he won MVP. So like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And like, dude, Josh Allen had a phenomenal year. Don't even get me wrong. He had a phenomenal year.
I think they should be co-MVPs, but that's not going to happen with the way the voting system works now.
Yeah, it won't
because they did the ranked choice voting, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it won't happen.
But if it was the old system, I think they'd be co-MVPs.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Back co-MVPs. Real MVP is Saquon. More vibe points for the Eagles.
I think we're at 19, right? Something like that.
Yeah, we're at infinite vibes.
Infinite vibes. All right. On that note, I know we went long today, but I hope you guys stuck around for the entire time. This is the last penultimate podcast. The penultimate podcast.
Oh, also vibes that like this season's been awesome because we went to so many Eagles games.
Bro, I had a fantastic year.
We both like the Eagles.
Honestly.
So yeah, so another vibe point.
Like I gotta just say my piece real quick. Like I almost didn't do picks this year. Like I was actively thinking about it last summer. Like I was like, oh dude, it was so much work last year. Like just putting like together the graphics and like putting together the write-ups and like it felt like a lot of work. And then Kyle came to me in like July or like June or something and was like, dude, let's do a podcast. And I was like, I don't know, it just seems like more work. Like I gotta do the same amount. And then I realized I was like, well, instead of like putting all my thought into like the write-ups on Instagram and like trying to like get my thoughts out like via like writing it, I feel like it would be a lot because I mean, if you know me personally, I talk a fuck. Like I talk a lot.
Yeah, Matt talks a lot.
I'm a big talker. I'm a very loud person, but like I feel like it would be so much easier for me to just verbally talk about it, right, as opposed to like writing it down, trying to get my thoughts organized. And it's been so much fun this year. Like not even just regardless of like all the great times I've had at the stadium this year with Kyle and like all my other friends and like traveling and like being it. Like I went to Dallas this year for the first time, which was an amazing experience. Went to Baltimore. Obviously, I went to all three Eagles, the playoff games. I got to see them win 3 times, which was amazing. Like despite all that, I genuinely had a good year doing this. So we're definitely gonna be back next year. I know we got one more show.
Yeah.
Got one more show coming up for y'all next Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Same.
Either gonna be the most happiest show of ever.
Yeah, bro.
It's gonna be
emotional either way.
Vibes because it's gonna be point vibes for Eagles because that would be so sad for the show to end so sad.
Dude.
So vibe point Eagles.
I know that would be just and I'm gonna have to give my thoughts on the game. I'm probably not gonna be doing much live stuff on my stories just because I want to enjoy the game. Like I did it because
everybody's watching the game.
Yeah, like last time I did it for the playoff games at least. I did it because I was at the stadium, so like I thought that would be cool.
Giving a new perspective.
Yeah, like
giving perspective on couch.
Not really, bro. Not really.
Can't be doing that.
I'll have a lot to talk about either way on Tuesday. So thank you guys. Again, thank you for anybody who asked questions today. We'll definitely do another one of those next season. But if you hung around for us, for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or the whole show, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
We will be back with one final episode of the Picks Podcast next week, Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube live. And then the video will go live. Be published later for you to listen to afterwards. So thanks again. Enjoy the Super Bowl wherever you might be watching. Again, Kyle and I are going to be together, so I just got to go right down the street, bud. So, all right, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk to y'all.
Go Birds, baby. Go Vibes.
Go Vibes. Go.